Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
That's gonna be funky.
welcome, episode 23
How come all the pretty girls like
of the Bobby
you are
Couto Show.
taken, baby? I've been looking for someone like you to save me. Now it's too easy to be so damn complicated. Take your time and I'll be waiting.
Can I tell you a secret?
Keep me in mind. Somewhere down the road.
There's a reason why we're playing Zac Brown Band today.
Keep me
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Silvestre joins the show today. Welcome, buddy.
Hello, hello, hello.
There he is. There he is. Unless you live under a rock.
think about yourself.
I know you don't, because you got internet service. You guys will know that Steve was joining the show today.
We always go
So, you know, in true
separate
fashion
ways.
of the Bobby Couto Show, in preparation for the show, I did my research. I shot Steve a text and said, hey, buddy,
Keep me in
what's your favorite music? What's your favorite color?
somewhere down.
And he asked me if we were dating. I said, no, not yet.
Right?
Zac Brown Band was his choice. And, of course, a true favorite of mine as well. I love Zac Brown Band. As a matter of fact, brother, in May, shout out to Jen and Randy. We're heading up to New Hampshire. We're going to go watch them.
Really?
Yeah, they're going to be at the, I believe it's a Pavilion or...
I've always wanted to go watch them at Fenway.
That would be a cool one too, man.
They're at Fenway. They've been at Fenway like the last 3 years, I think, or something like that. And I've always wanted to go, but the tickets are ridiculous.
You know, let me tell you something.
I already know what you're going to say.
I love the nostalgia of what you're saying. But you know what? As a Boston Red Sox or previous Boston Red Sox fan, I'll tell you that. Is there
Previous? What?
Is there a such thing as a comfortable seat at Fenway, bro?
No.
Right? Like I
Well,
get it.
well,
Zach.
there are, but I definitely
Yeah,
can't afford those.
You know what? I'll tell you a quick story. Joe Costa, our friend Joe
Yeah.
Costa, both of us, we work with Joe. Joe is part of the Comcast brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
Anyway, so Joe, when we used to work together, he ended up doing a some type of raffle for the Jimmy Fund, and doing the raffle, part of the prize was you won a brick, and you could get tickets to the Green Monster. So he did. He tried it and he won it. And if you ask him about it, he'll tell you the story. He got a brick off the Green Monster, and he got tickets to sit for a game. Well, turns out he ended up being entered into another raffle to win another set of tickets to the Green Monster. Well, of course, he wins them. They're a little expensive, and he's like, bro, I kind of already did it. I already went. If you want them, dude, who says no to Green Monster tickets?
Yeah.
So I go ahead and I grab the tickets. I got to sit in the Green Monster seats. Bro, it rained that day.
Of course it did.
And so we walk up, and there's a dude over there with a towel, bro, wiping our seats. Yeah, swear to God, wiped that. I actually looked at him. I said, "This is how the other half lives," because I'd be sitting in a pile of sewage if I was down at my third base. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I won Red Sox tickets from Comcast one time.
Did you like good seats? Or?
Arlene was I don't know, they had some raffle for something, and I actually, dude, I've never won anything in my life. I won these tickets, and I took my wife. Dude, great night in Boston.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable seats, but great night in
Where'd
Boston.
you guys end up sitting?
Right field, like almost by the foul pole.
This crazy dude used to live up. Telling stories. This crazy dude used to live next to me. I won't mention his name because he might be listening. And next thing you know, I got headlights in my driveway.
Well, you just called him a crazy dude, so you're already gonna have.
I get a
problems.
phone call. He's like, "Hey, I got tickets, third base. My sister, she works at the hospital. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I'll take them. 4 tickets. I take my family. They were Stephen King, the author.
Yeah.
They were his seats. I'm looking around, people looking at us like, who the hell is this dude sitting in Stephen King seats? Yeah, I didn't know that. Imagine that.
How the hell did she get Stephen King seats?
Somehow somebody knows somebody, Boston's Children's Hospital, and yada yada yada. He
Gotcha.
donated them or like raffled them or gave them as a benefit for some sort. She won them, couldn't go. Somehow they ended up in my lap, and I'm sitting in Stephen King seats.
And everybody's staring at you like you're
Right,
a weirdo.
right. Like, of course, you're on your best
Calling me
behavior.
Usher. Excuse me,
But
sir.
I will tell you though, it's funny you mention that. Where I was sitting, it must have been. You know when you got a nice place, right? A beautiful house, beautiful neighborhood, and your neighbor's a douchebag, right? It was kind of like that. Like I had really great seats. We had like third base seats, and the people that were sitting on it, in true Boston fashion. Sorry guys, in true Boston fashion. Dude, the most inappropriate conversation. Like, I got my wife, my daughter, and my son. Like, well, my son had to be, Steve, if he was 10, like your daughter's age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got my daughter. She's probably 13, 14 years old, and then my wife. And my wife and I have bookends on this, and they're douchebagging this and douchebag, like all over the place. And I'm like, it kind of ruins everything.
Yeah,
you know
welcome
what I
to
mean?
Boston.
Right? Like, dude, you got to be that obnoxious, bro. You see, you know what? Not that I don't want to ruin. I don't want to be that guy and ruin your night because I know you're having a good time and you had 13 beers. I get that. You're trying to sneak them in before the seventh inning. You know what I mean? Hey, let me go get 4 beers before seventh inning stretch. I get that, but man, I look to the right, look to the left, man. Just a little common courtesy for the guy who's bringing his family.
Gone.
You know what I mean?
That's gone, Bobby.
Yeah, it is, bro.
In the world, it's gone.
Hey, you know what? I went to Rachel and I. New York. We went to go watch the Yankees. Red Sox played the Yankees. Turns out Derek Lowe it was the most horrible game he ever pitched in his life, and we were ridiculed all the way out. Although I will tell you, they were very respectful. People in New York,
they are more respectful than people are led to believe.
You, bro, they were very respectful, man. They were,
unlike Boston fans.
Yes. Granted, I will tell you. Granted that. It was hot. Like it was a lot of it. There was a lot of it, but it was soft. There was never an F-bomb. There was never. It was they were just, and of course Derek Lowe, and that was right after, if you remember, when Pedro Martinez said that the Yankees were my daddy. Do you remember that? Do you remember when he?
I do.
That was right out. It was right in that pool of that time. Yeah. The A-Rod era. Like it was. You knew. You know what? That's what made baseball great was the rivalry, of course, with New York and. Yeah,
even that's dead. Have you noticed that?
It is, bro. What's the point? What's the point of watching?
Hey, I can be honest with you. This past season, I'll tell you,
you're going to be honest with me, and you're going to be honest with our fans.
Well, all right, but me and my wife used to watch the Red Sox.
Me too.
Dude, I can tell you, I probably this last season, I probably watched 3 games.
Who's got time, bro?
Dude, 3 games.
Who's got time?
Well, I don't have the time, and even if I did, I would find something else to do.
I'm telling you, look, you know what? Even the idea with Price, like if you go, let's go back to spring. If you go, what episode was it? For Better for Worse with Rachel, the episode with Rachel. I actually go on a rant about.
How do you remember all this?
Because I live it, bro. I live it, right?
All right.
But I was talking about the Red Sox. I was talking about Alex Cora. I was talking about the freak fluke World Series. Like if you guys go listen, you're gonna have to go back. You have to go listen. And I actually call it out, and Rachel and I were just talking about it today. She goes, you know what? As crazy as you are sometimes, and I look at you and I think you're crazy.
Sometimes. She goes,
some of it actually comes to fruition. Like the idea, like who knew that he was that mastermind that was going to create a way to cheat? Like, right? Like,
dude. And this is, so I haven't really been following besides Boston.
Yeah.
But apparently this is like a widespread thing.
He did it in Houston, right? And as a matter of fact, if you're watching any of the media, social media end of it, you see Altuve, and it was right after he cracks a walk-off home run, and he's walking towards home plate, or I should say like kind of jogging, and everybody comes onto the field, and he grabs his shirt like this, and he starts shaking his finger no, and you can see his lips, and he's telling him, don't rip off my shirt, because if you rip off my shirt, people are going to see that I'm wearing a wire. Because what they were doing was he had they were using a battery-powered transmitter, and if it was going to be an off-speed or a fast pitch, you hit the button, you'd feel the little buzz on your shoulder. If you go back, it's creepy, because if you go back and you watch it, I told my family, I said, I don't know what Major League Baseball is doing. I said, I believe they're caulking the balls. I actually said it. I said, they're caulking the balls because there is absolutely no way that these guys are hitting home runs like this. Because we're talking Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa days, like home run after home run after home run. How are these guys hitting home runs like this?
Well, they were all
juicing it up.
They were all juicing it anyways.
Yeah, PEDs, man. They were just shooting that shit right up.
I mean, so that was one aspect. But now, did this go back that far?
This was, no, this is recent, and Alex Cora orchestrated. Like, they were banging on barrels. Like, if you go back and listen, you can hear him banging on the barrel, telling because they know the pitch. They know, you can watch any major sporting, like a baseball game, and you can see the catcher. You see him doing
absolutely.
And they were stealing signs, and that's how they were doing it. The Red Sox won. They had the most wins. I believe it was 109 wins. It was the most in franchise history. And that was Alex Cora got there cheated, right? Like, you know what? And I will tell you, and this is kind of and this is where you're going to relate with the story is, Steve, is I could not, once I heard that he wasn't going to the White House, This was right around
yeah.
This is right around Puerto Rico when Puerto Rico had that devastating right, and so I again,
where we didn't send funds. But we did.
Yes.
And then the Puerto Rican mayor
took it all.
Dude,
how douchey do you have to be?
But Trump is the problem.
Yeah, how douchey do you have to be?
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
I said that.
Yeah,
I listen. It wasn't just him. I mean, who else was it? That was another team too. I'm telling you, my memory's gone.
Oh, no, we can go on here for a while. Like, you know what? We can even go to Tim Thomas and the Boston Bruins. The fact that he didn't go, I mean, and that was Obama. And again, you know, my argument has always been this, Steve.
It's the same
if
thing.
you have the opportunity to have the ear of the most powerful man in the world, why would you not? Regardless of how you feel, why would you not take that opportunity?
Listen, it's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not. Listen, I wasn't an Obama supporter, right?
No,
clearly,
Yep.
I was not. But if I was on a sporting team that just won, you know, the national title, let's say, right, and I had the opportunity to go to the White House, I don't care who it was. I don't care if it was Obama or if it was Trump or Reagan.
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
It's not about the person in the office at that point. It is about the office itself.
Agreed.
Right?
Still my president.
Listen, you like it or not, that's
right. That's just
it works both ways.
And this is the thing,
you know,
and that's the price you pay for living in a democracy.
Absolutely.
Like, your team isn't always going to win. Like, just the way it is. Like, you have to accept the fact of, you know, the majority rules. If you don't like it, then maybe you don't belong here. Like, it's just that simple.
Change
right?
people's minds,
bro. If you go to work every day and you're absolutely miserable with your life, why the hell are you doing it? Why? I mean, seriously.
Why would you ask me that?
Well, in all seriousness, like, if it got to a point, bro, like, look, I'm saying people are actually going out of their way, identify, like, these people are going out of their way to physically hurt other people. Like, it's beyond.
Well, so I don't know if you want to come back to this.
No, go ahead, come on, we can go anyway. You know what?
You're bringing up Antifa, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I don't know. Are you informed about what's going on in Virginia?
Okay, I'm so glad you brought that up because, as a matter of fact, that was one of the topics. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about because that's a rally. Just in case you don't know, and I'll bring you in,
Absolutely.
and you can. I'm sure you are the you got much more information about this than I do. And on Monday, right? I believe this is on Monday.
Yep.
Virginia is they are going to pass legislation that would restrict your Second Amendment rights.
No.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Because
I know they want to come get your gun, and if you don't,
absolutely,
they're going to come arrest you. Like, it's something based on. All right,
well, absolutely. So
this
is what's going on in Virginia as of right now. So back in November, Bloomberg spent old Mayor Bloomberg from New York City running for president.
Yep.
No shot in hell.
4%.
Listen.
Yeah, he 4%.
Guy, you know what's going to end up happening with that is he's going to turn independent and he's going to steal votes from both sides and screw up the whole election.
Yeah, everything gets screwed up.
That's exactly what's going to happen. But, so he spent, I forget the exact number. It was something like close to $2 million. And he basically bought Virginia for the Democratic Party.
Believe it.
So, they predominantly voted Democratic, right? So the Democrats got in. They started, I believe, January 7th. Months before they even got into office, they were pre-filing bills, all right, to be heard. So before they're even in office.
Yeah, before they're so the chicken before the egg all day.
Listen,
right.
So they're pre-filing bills.
Yep.
So they pre-filed a red flag bill.
Yep.
They pre-filed an assault weapons ban in Virginia. They pre-filed a high cap mag bill, which I don't even know what a high capacity magazine is.
Right. Well, that would be like, so if in case you don't know, for the layman's, in Massachusetts, you cannot have a magazine with more than 10 rounds. Am I correct? Anything over 10 rounds, unless it's pre-banned, right? Pre-banned. Otherwise, completely illegal. You can't have it.
Correct.
And so, like, if I was to ask you, not to take you off track, but if I was to ask you the stupid question, like, hey, how can I tell if it's pre-banned or not? What would you say to me? Well, look, you got a Glock, right?
There are different generations, just like there are different generations of Glocks. There are different generations of the mags,
and you can tell by looking at it.
Absolutely,
and you can tell
the notch in the back, the full metal lining, the notch in the back is different. The originals were round. The second gens were squarish. Some were taller. Some were.
What's the penalty? So if I go online, I'm just saying this. This is just make believe. I know I can't, but I go online and I order myself a large capacity magazine for my.
Well, they won't ship it to Mass.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Right, so you go to New Hampshire and you buy one. I'm in New Hampshire.
Yep, and I bring it home, right? But then I come to Massachusetts and I get pulled over, right? And a police officer, and I tell officer, I'm carrying blah blah blah, and he takes my firearm. He takes it, and he realizes that I have. What's the penalty? Does he take my gun? Do I lose my license? Like,
you're gonna forfeit the gun. You're gonna lose your license to carry because this is the communist state of Massachusetts. I believe. I'm not exactly sure on the exact amounts, but it's something like a $10,000 fine and a possibility of up to 10 years in jail.
And we're talking, and this is I could have a 12-hour magazine, right? Do they make a 12-hour magazine? Was it 10?
I'm
12?
Not sure for the Ruger.
All right, let's say the Glock. Let's just say the Glock.
The Glock's like the Glock 19 is standard capacity is 15 rounds. That's what they are.
That's standard.
That is what they are made for.
Right.
That was the whole selling point of that gun to the market for the police market more than anything else was that they were a 9mm double stack mag that can hold 15 rounds. So 15 plus 1 in the chamber gave police and civilians, I mean not just police, but higher capacities to handle their whatever.
So real quick again, I don't want to get too far because I want to get back to Virginia real quick. But so I don't. What I have trouble understanding, Steve, is how that helps or protects anyone. Like I'm not sure between the difference in 10 bullets or 15 bullets, and other than the sheer fact if I needed those extra 5. Again, I am one of the believer.
Well, because I'd
rather have it and not need it than need it and not have
absolutely.
it. Absolutely,
right? But if you ask your attorney general, the tyrant, Maura Healey. What she's going to tell you is that once you go through those 10 rounds, the person who's doing this mass shooting, let's say, or whatever, right?
Or how about a grizzly bear? How about if a grizzly bear? Because I could probably put 10 rounds of 9mm bullets in a grizzly bear, and the grizzly bear would probably still come at me. Would you agree?
Guaranteed.
So I could use those extra 5 bullets, right? If I'm running from, it doesn't have to be a person, right? I could be running from a grizzly bear.
Absolutely, but her whole stance is that once you go through those 10 rounds, now you have to reload. So the criminal would have to reload. So that's going to give somebody the opportunity to do, I don't know, because reloading takes an exorbitant amount of time. You know what I mean? 2 seconds.
You know what? I'm gonna guess, brother. I happen to know that you are very, very astute in firearms. I know that you are technically savvy. You know how to fire. Like you are. If I knew somebody who was technical in that, I would say you. Me, on the other hand, I have my license to carry. I can carry. But if I'm the guy that needs the 11th bullet because if I'm shooting, and unless you shoot, you wouldn't know this. Because if you watch movies, you can shoot one bullet. The guy's like cutting the rope. Like what? I could try as hard as I want, brother, and I should try to shoot a target. At maybe not even 30 yards, maybe 20 yards, and it's very, very difficult to hit something. Let's say the size of a trash can lid, right? Never mind a moving object. Like I always tell my kids, listen, God forbid, and my wife, God forbid, you guys are ever in a situation where you hear gunshots, zigzag. I always tell them, don't run straight, right?
That's absolutely a stationary target is
exactly. And if you're running in a straight line, you're technically a stationary object because you're right. So I tell them zigzag, and look, guys, PSA for everybody. Yeah. If God forbid you're ever in a situation where you hear gunshots, zigzag, right? That's zigzag. So listen, real quick, let's get back to Virginia real quick because this is really, really important because I think.
Well, I just want to say one thing because you just brought up the movies, right?
I did.
That's what everybody thinks, like what I see in movies. Just like a silencer, right?
Yep.
It's not a silencer.
No, you're right.
It's a suppressor.
Right. Yes.
There's a difference. Yes. It doesn't make it silent.
No.
And that's but that we call it a silencer, and people go,
yes.
Well, now it's like it's whispering.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
That's not how it works.
Right.
That's not how any of this works.
Right. And again, but you know what? And I always go back to saying it. If you raise a kid, right, and you tell them a fork is a spoon and a spoon is a fork, you could argue them all day long. They're gonna right, and this is exactly that situation,
and that's what's
right?
going on in this country is not just with guns, but with everything.
Yeah,
is the brainwashing of our children.
Do you follow PragerU by any chance? Do you?
I don't follow them.
Yeah.
I watch their stuff once in a while. So I follow Ben Shapiro, right?
Okay. Yep.
The big PragerU guy.
Yeah.
Mike what's the other guy's name there from the Daily Wire?
Oh, it's not gonna come to me.
Yeah,
it's like, you know what? We'll
him
edit
too.
that in.
And like I got a bunch of guys I follow, not necessarily PragerU.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of their
clips, right?
Their clips.
Yeah, I do the same thing. And you know what? And there was one that you know what? I got to remember his name because he's fantastic. And I forgive me because I watch all his videos. But he actually goes to college campuses and he asks a lot of the students like just regular basic questions. And some of the questions were, what's the difference between a semi-automatic weapon and an automatic weapon? And people had no idea.
They have no idea.
They had no idea.
Listen, there are.
So real quick, what semi-automatic weapon is what?
Okay, a semi-automatic weapon is a gun where you pull the trigger once.
Yep.
And it shoots one bullet.
Okay.
You let go of the trigger, you pull the trigger again, it shoots another bullet.
Right.
Let go of the trigger, pull the trigger, another bullet.
Right.
Okay. An automatic weapon, you pull the trigger and it just goes
off it goes.
Off it goes.
So
as long as you're holding that trigger and it has ammo, it's going to go.
And the only way around that was what they've outlawed now, which is the bump stock, right? The actual, you can no longer have one, correct? Which was it would give the recoil of the firearm. The
recoil would actually work the trigger. It would mimic an automatic
weapon, right.
But it honestly, worst invention in the world. It was horrible.
I can imagine because I can't even going back to being like if I'm aiming at something or if I'm trying to shoot something, if it's bouncing off my shoulder, I mean all I'm doing is just spraying bullets and And that's only going to work. And I mean, forgive me for saying it out loud. That's only going to work at a James Aldean concert. Like you're not gonna if you're trying to hit a specific target,
unless you are shooting at like you said a crowd of people.
Like the Las Vegas event is what I'm referring to.
That's basically what an automatic weapon is, right? I mean, let's be honest. An automatic weapon is a military weapon.
Yes,
I understand. A lot of people are going to get mad at me because we have the right. I believe we do have the right to own them.
Sure.
Even though we can't.
Sure.
I think we should be able to own them because it's a free country.
And you can do that in Texas, right? In Texas,
in certain places in the country you can. In other places you can't. Here, technically in Massachusetts, you can. You just have to obtain a green card. They call it a green card. It's a license to carry to have fully automatic weapons. Good luck getting one,
right?
But they do exist. I've seen them.
But
it's a weapon of war. Think about this. You're on a battlefield, right?
Yep.
Bunch of guys coming at you. You're just going to spray and pray. Right. That's what those weapons are made for.
That's what they're designed for, right.
Civilians don't own those. The majority don't own those.
But see, I know I can already hear people saying it. Well, then why would you even want one anyway? And I would rebuttal that and saying like, for me personally, I enjoy to shoot, bro. Okay. I like going to the range.
For those people,
right?
I have this question: why do you need to? Why would anybody want to own a Corvette?
Right. I
just came down 140. Yep. Speed limit 65.
Yep.
Why do you need a car that can do 200?
Exactly. No, I hear you. Right. Because it's nice to do it once in a while, and if you need to go a little faster, you want to go a little faster.
Because that's not even the point. Right. It's because you have the right to do it.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a free country.
Right. No, I agree.
And as long as you are harming nobody else.
I don't understand. I guess the tough part for me is either you can or you can't. Like, for example, if the DMV issues me a driver's license, they're giving me the right to drive a vehicle.
Correct.
Like, so I can drive a vehicle. Like, it doesn't say that, hey, listen, you can drive, you can only take right-hand turns, and you can down the road, you can only take left-hand turns, and you can only stop at a red light. Like, there's none of that. Like, it's just, you can, so why wouldn't it be the same way? If I am, and again, I'll go back because this is very important. If I am psychologically fit to have a license to carry, which I think, honestly, and I hope you agree, is I think that's important. I think being psychologically fit,
absolutely,
right? And I think anybody, and I know I mentioned it in a previous podcast, and I've said it before. Like, I think if you are a responsible gun owner, somebody who has a gun and has a license to carry, you don't mind knowing that the guy on the side of you is psychologically fit and sound to have that firearm, because you know the dangers, bro. Nobody knows the dangers more than you do. I mean, you're a certified NRA instructor. Let's get it out there. Let's just say it. So you know, and I will tell you, everyone. If you guys are looking, I mean, you still do the, So I mean, let's throw it out there right now. I mean, when I went for my license to carry, you were the catalyst for that. You were the instructor. I got my safety certificate from you, and I took that with me, and now I have my license to carry, which was an amazing course. Which even in the case, and guys, and I'll tell you, my family participated. I thank you, Steve, for that. My whole family participated in that because to me, I always felt, and I know you'll agree, if you're gonna have these things in your home, then everybody should know how to use them. Like,
absolutely,
right? I mean, like take the mystery out of it. Like, there is no reason why.
That's it right there.
Right?
Take the mystery out of it, and your kids will not be curious.
They don't care, right?
If you take them to the range and you shoot with them, they will not.
Right?
They'll know. Listen, my kids all know.
Yep.
My kids are all grown up now. They have their own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's every one of my kids growing up had their own gun. Everybody had their own rifle.
Right. No mystery. They realize it's fun. You can be safe. You can be responsible.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that go with it. But I think, that there is a narrative out there, and I think people are using it and trying to scare people into thinking a certain and feeling a certain way. You could take any of these tragedies, and you can try to point them at a direction and say, guns are dangerous. Guns are dangerous. You know what? Guns are dangerous, just like anything else is dangerous.
Cars are dangerous. Knives are dangerous.
And I hate to repeat. I hate to sound so just so layman about it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if
it's a tool,
it's a tool, and if you just allow people to be responsible with these things, you know what? The other side of that, bro. Do you think that the NRA wants that to happen? Because quite honestly, I'm a member. NRA. I've been a member. I'm
sorry to hear that.
I did my 5-year plan.
I signed up for my life membership, and you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. I've been very disappointed with the NRA's lack of. A lot of things have come out about the NRA in the past year that many of the members do not know. Right?
They need them. Like, you need a good guy and a bad guy, right? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that the Republicans help the NRA as much as the Democrats do. Because without the Democrats, you don't need the NRA, right? That's what I'm saying.
Listen,
right?
The number one gun salesman a few years back was Obama. He was literally crowned the number.
Yes, because people were afraid, right? Because they kept saying they were going to ban, they were going to ban.
People,
right?
People were buying them.
I ought to buy my AR-15, right? I got friends that have 2 or 3 of them because they were afraid that they were going to get banned.
It's crazy. And
then Fast and Furious.
Well,
right? I mean, that
didn't happen. Nothing happened.
Oh boy, that was some crazy shit. And you know what? And even now, I think, and I mentioned it in the last podcast. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to Joe Rogan. I mean, I should never try to
So I'm on the fence about Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I don't listen to all of them either. Me too.
Listen, I love Joe Rogan.
Yep.
I love it. So I don't know if you know this, but I shoot archery too, right? I got my compound bow. I love it.
Yep.
Love it. He's a big archery guy, right? So he's with John Dudley, who's a big archery guy, Cameron Haynes, who's a big archery guy, big hunters and all that stuff, right? And he's really good friends with them, and he's into the archery thing.
Yep.
And I will say that Joe Rogan at least listens to both sides of every story.
But he always sounds stoned. He's always stoned.
Well, listen.
And that's okay. If that's his
thing. Your thing. That's your thing,
right? When I listen to him, it's always kind of like, yeah, right.
It depends on who's on.
Right?
You won't catch him stoned if John Dudley's on there. Good. Because John Dudley wants to have a serious conversation.
Yeah, I would imagine so, right?
But
you would want that.
The thing with Joe Rogan is he'll be like, he owns guns. So he's like, I don't see a problem with owning guns.
Yeah.
But why do you need AR-15? And I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah,
and I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I hear you,
really?
Bro. Don't go there. Just don't go
why?
there. Gun's a gun. Just let it be.
Is it because you don't understand the AR-15?
Yeah, right.
Like everywhere, AR-15, assault rifle 15. No, that's not what it means. Right. AR stands for Armalite Rifle.
I like that. I didn't know that.
That's a company that invented it.
Yeah.
Armalite, or makes it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Armalite Rifle 15. The model number. That is what it stands for.
But again, and just in case you don't know, an AR-15 it's very popular because you can modify it in many, many ways.
Yes.
Am I right? That's
really, and it comes in many calibers.
Yeah, you could do whatever.
And it's
right.
Absolutely.
So if you had to think of the Swiss Army knife of firearms, right?
They call it the Barbie for men.
There you go. Now I would I like that. But would you say that's like in comparison to like your Rock Island, like your 1911? Would you say that's what would you rather, like, is it two different, like, would you rather shoot a 1911? Would you rather shoot the AR? Like, no, just share the passions with me. Like, obviously two completely different.
Absolutely.
I get it. Two completely share those passions with me, because I know
which one would I rather shoot? Is that the question?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I'll tell you what, the AR-15 all day long.
All day long.
Let me
fine,
tell you
right?
a quick story. So my wife is licensed. She has her own gun.
Yep.
We go shooting. Probably not as much as we should.
Right.
But we go shooting. She gets on me sometimes about that. But you ask my wife, out of all the guns that I own, okay, what gun is her favorite? And she'll put that AR-15 in her hands every time.
My favorite? My Ruger 1022. I swear to God, bro, I love shooting that thing.
Dude, then you would love the one. I built one. I built one from the ground up. You would love it.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the modifications, but it's so much fun to shoot. One, the ammunition's dirt cheap. Like, you buy a box of 22. I mean, like, really, right? All day, and then the accuracy of it, and it's just fun. Like, in the backyard, we can shoot. I set up some saw blades in the backyard. I number them. AJ and I'll go out on the deck. We'll call out numbers and we'll shoot the targets. And I like an active target. I like that you hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like paper.
Yeah, I don't like paper.
I go look in the back of my truck right now. There's steel targets with stands and everything ready to go.
Ready to go. See, I like I like to hear it. I like knowing that I'm hitting something.
Absolutely.
So, for me, but again, just kind of back to what you're saying, like, you pick these guns, and I got the Ruger, I got the SR9C, but that 1022, man, what's so much fun to shoot, man.
Yeah.
It is just so much fun.
So, getting back to the AR-15.
Yep.
So I just watched. It's funny. I was going through. I think it was. I don't know if it was Amazon Prime Video or if it was Netflix. I was going through one of them. I'm pretty sure it was Amazon, and I saw this thing. It was a show. It was called like Right to Bear Arms or Bear Your Arm. Something.
This is on Netflix.
I think it was Amazon Prime.
Okay. All right. Pick your pick.
It was a show about this guy who is a filmmaker, just moved from California to like Idaho or Wisconsin or somewhere out there, right? And all his neighbors have guns.
Yeah.
And he doesn't necessarily not like guns.
Yeah.
He's just not familiar with them. And neither is his wife. But he goes away a lot. And they have a lot of land. They have a coyote problem. They have all these issues. So he sets about on this journey to learn about guns and to pick out a gun for himself and a gun for his wife, and they go through this whole thing. Long story short, they shot 100 guns.
Yep.
His wife picked the AR-15.
No kidding.
You know why? Because she picked it up. It was light.
Yep.
No recoil.
Right.
And she was accurate with it. She
with it.
couldn't hit anything with anything else.
Right. Most people will pick a shotgun, right? Because, I mean, if you have a shotgun.
Yeah. She shot the shotgun, it knocked her on her ass.
Knocked on her ass. See, that's where you get the recoil. So you're trying to pick like a good balanced firearm, because otherwise you're just pointing a metal gun at somebody.
Absolutely.
Like, if you can't shoot the thing, then
you
what
could be
the
like
hell?
Biden and just shoot it off your back porch.
There you go.
Good to go.
Right. Just be done.
That guy's what a moron.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyways.
That's a whole other episode. Then you're going to have to come back and talk about him. You know what I mean?
Jesus
Go ahead, bro.
So let's get back to Virginia.
Yeah,
right?
so let's circle back. Let's go all the way back.
Yeah, let's circle back. This could be a long night.
I know, right?
So, so they voted in all these Democrats.
Yes.
I keep clapping. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
They voted in all these Democrats. They pre-filed all these bills, all these different things. So now they get into office. January 7th, they're sworn in, whatever.
Mind you, there are Democrats like hiding. Like, there are people that are in safe houses, right? Like, they're afraid for their lives.
Absolutely.
There are people afraid for their lives. I won't lie to you. I did a little research and I did do the reading on it, and they were saying that there are some of the people that represent, like, they've been getting death threats that on Monday they are.
But see, that's the problem, is the death threats aren't coming from the pro-gun people.
Right.
Those death threats are coming from militia groups, like
supremacy,
far right.
Right.
Militia groups.
Yeah.
Some have already been arrested by the FBI.
Right, because they were doing something with fence, right? They were going to do some fences. They were right.
Let's get hold on. All right. Don't jump ahead.
I'm telling you, there's some crazy shit going on, man. Like, listen, seriously.
Hey,
right?
The whole country needs to be watching this right now, because what happens in Virginia is going to determine what's going to happen throughout this nation.
Right.
And that's not even a joke.
And if you don't believe it, the perfect example of that is legalizing marijuana in Massachusetts. Because if you noticed, once it happened, it became okay for everybody to legalize marijuana. Like we was. But go ahead, go back. Go ahead.
So what January 20th is going to be, Monday is going to be, it's supposed to be, crap, what are they calling it? Not rally day.
Protest?
No, it's actually made for constituents to be able to go into the State House and talk to the representatives and said lobby day.
Oh, lobby day. Okay.
That's what it is. That makes sense. That is exactly what it started out as.
Okay. All right.
So
that's the event Monday. That's why this is relevant for Monday, is because it's
absolutely.
lobby. All right. Okay.
Monday is lobby day.
Okay.
And so what it is basically is, up until a week ago, it was perfectly legal for you to be armed on state-ground properties.
I did read that.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
As soon as the Democrats got in there,
effective immediately,
they passed a law that said that you cannot carry within the State House. Okay, so that was one thing, but you could still carry on the grounds.
Right.
Okay, so now there's this big rally going to happen. Well, the governor, the dipshit, communist. I got a lot of names for this guy. He declares a state of emergency.
Okay. Because of all the noise.
Because of everybody saying that they're going to rally the State House.
Right.
So now he's shitting his pants.
Right.
So he declares a state of emergency starting, I believe, tomorrow afternoon until Tuesday afternoon, which I don't even think is legal.
Right.
Because in order for the State House to be declared, I read something where, in order for the State House to be declared in a state of emergency or something, there has to it has to be a shelter. So now the State House Commons.
So in other words,
in
the event of a catastrophic event such as that, the location in which you're restricting access is supposed to be a safe place to go in the event that. So there's the contradiction.
So now,
and great, you know what? That's really like the narrative of the Democratic Party, man. Listen, like, geez,
so now,
man.
if you if
crazy,
I could show you some
crazy, man.
I could show you some pictures on Instagram if you go through there right now.
Yeah.
The ridiculousness that's going on around the State House right now. They have piles and piles of steel fence being erected.
Right.
Cages.
Right.
So we're basically putting everybody in cages. They talk about the Republicans putting, immigrants in cages and all this other stuff. We are literally caging.
And this is in our country, bro. This isn't like
bad.
Yeah, this is here. This is the United States of America, man.
This is bad. Hey, it's so bad. Hey, listen, this is how bad it is. It's so bad that Antifa has said that they are going to go there and protest with the pro-gun people because they believe that him taking away their rights to carry is fascism and it's racist.
So, if you're going to keep the Second Amendment, is the idea to just completely just trim and trim and trim? Like I mentioned it before, like the brick by brick thing. You don't take it all at once, right? You don't bring a wrecking ball in and knock the wall down. You're literally taking it brick by brick. Well, you can't have this kind of bullet. You can't have this kind of gunpowder. You can't have this kind of sights. You can't have a silencer. You can't have a magazine. You can't have a trigger. You can't have a safety.
That's exactly what's going on.
Right,
so I don't know. So probably 10 years now, right? They had the Heller decision in the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Heller said that every American, law-abiding American, had the right to have a handgun for protection.
Agreed.
In their house, in their home.
Okay.
Didn't say anything about carrying it.
In public.
In public.
Okay.
Everybody had. So they've already had that decision. So they cannot tell you that you can't own a gun for protection in your home. See, that's.
Yeah, but how do I buy it? So I go and I purchase. Do I need a license, or do I go into a store and say I'm buying this for protection in my home?
Depends on what state you're in.
Let's say Virginia.
Virginia, you could probably just go to a gun store
and just buy a gun.
Pass the federal background check.
The background test, right?
That's what people don't understand.
Is that the Brady bill? Is that still in effect? The Brady bill? That was a Clinton thing, right?
Yes.
That was an event, individual wheelchair, if I remember correctly, and then
that was the assault weapons ban.
Yep.
That started in '94. That sunsetted in 2004.
But that gave birth to that waiting period, right? Like that's kind of like where that came from, because before that you really didn't have a waiting period, right? Like you'd go in and you could just buy it, and then now you've got that right? Like
It depends on where. It all depends on where you are. Like Rhode Island, I know has a waiting period.
Yeah,
Massachusetts doesn't.
Do you have a license to carry in Rhode Island?
I do.
Oh, you do? I was going to try, man. It seemed like it was almost impossible.
I just got it.
My goodness. I got Mass and New Hampshire. I have those two.
Yeah, which you don't even need New
Hampshire. New Hampshire's fun. Well, you know what? I do it for the fun of it.
It gives you it actually gives you more rights
Yeah.
than if you didn't have it.
Yep.
Like you don't have to. So now if you get pulled over, if you don't have the license, you have to tell them.
You know, I few times in my life, and I'm just gonna tell a quick story, just because we're talking about some serious
me
stuff.
off, man.
No, but I got you, bro. Bro, speaking of New Hampshire, I was in New Hampshire with my wife. We went up for the weekend. Quick story. Long story short, bro. I watched a moose get parlayed by a van, like an Econo van.
Damn.
Like it was, you know what? I tell people the story all the time, and I say, you know, the things you remember in your life, like you remember the birth of your children, like that's vivid in your mind. This, like, watching this moose get hit by a van was vivid. Like, we stopped to take pictures of the moose and then watch the moose. Look, dude, you can't make this stuff up. But anyway, the reason why I'm even bringing this up is after this catastrophic event takes place, a New Hampshire resident actually had pulled over and, like, does anybody have a firearm to put this poor animal out of its misery? And if there was, like, you know, you always think to yourself, Steve, like, you know what? You always think of the situation where you're in a location that you have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You never think of the other side of that. Here was a poor creature that couldn't.
I don't think you could have.
Right?
Even if you did, man, I think you'd get yourself in a world of shit if you did it.
Whew, you know, I would agree. But if you saw the situation and the poor creature, like the way the
and you know how they would get you.
state-
And you know how they would get you. It wouldn't be that you discharged a firearm. They would get you with shooting within 50 feet of a road or shooting it without a hunting license.
My goodness, you think so?
That's how
I didn't even think of that.
That's how they would get you.
I was feeling terrible because I couldn't put the animal out of its misery. You know what I mean? Like, because it was like there was no vet for this animal. Like this this was 911. You know what I mean?
But the state had to show up and do it.
Yeah. But you know what? I never even thought. Like when the woman came out, she's like, "Does anybody have a gun?" And I'm like, I turn around, I'm like, Rachel, let's get out of here. You know what I mean? Because you know what? I'll be honest with you, bro. I kind of felt like Dickie that I didn't do. I don't know. Maybe I could have waved the van. Like I didn't even think. Like it was so fast. I didn't even think to stop. Like maybe I should have waved my arms and said, "Hey, stop!" Don't right. I don't know, man. I struggle with that sometimes. That's embedded. Like maybe I should.
You know what? There are certain things I would take a chance with.
Yeah.
That would as much as I love animals. That wouldn't.
Could you imagine if I would have had it? Like I would have got arrested and went like for an endangered species or something. Yeah,
you would have been. You would have
right.
Listen.
And my luck, it would have been pregnant, right? And that would have been my luck.
They would have shot. They would have got you by like. All right,
maybe I shouldn't feel so bad.
Excuse me, sir. Do you happen to have a New Hampshire hunting license? Why, no, officer.
No.
Well, I'm gonna have to arrest you.
Oh my God! Right in nowhere, in New Hampshire.
That's how they would get you.
And they'd be like,
"Hey, man, New Hampshire's changing, bro.
Mr. Couto, you got a pretty mouth,
dude. Hey, New Hampshire's changing."
Wow.
And not for the better.
No, right? Look, everybody's moving up there. Listen, I remember, I go up there, and I remember going up there, and the road was 2 lanes, like 1 lane up, 1 lane down. Yeah. Now, man, you got like 8 lanes in both directions. Yeah. It is definitely you're right. Like people aren't afraid of the cold anymore. People used to stay away because of the cold. Now everybody's going up there and there. Right?
You know what's funny is everybody goes up there to get away from people.
Yeah. That is so funny, bro.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Because they're building houses on top of each other.
Everywhere, bro. Everywhere. Like
New Hampshire's not what it used to be.
No, it's not. No, I totally
Unless you got to go north New Hampshire.
Yes, you got a minimum of 3.5 to 4 hours north to get. Like you got to get into the White Mountains otherwise, you're in just nothing.
Absolutely,
but populous.
Dude, if you move into southern New Hampshire, you're living in Mass.
We went to.
They should just secede that part into Mass.
I took the family to Rangeley because we were going to hike the Appalachian Trail. We spent the week in a cabin by the lake. It was beautiful, bro. 8 hours to get there. We went for 4th of July weekend. It took me 8 hours traffic going up north, where before, brother, you'd hop in your car and it was the travel. Now you got to fight traffic all the way. It's insane. It takes the fun right out of it. You know my rule? For every hour of travel is a day. So if we're going up, if it's 3 hour drive, we're staying for 3 days. That's my rule. Because otherwise, it's not worth the drive, bro.
Listen, nothing's worth the drive to me unless I'm staying somewhere for 2-3 days tops.
Right?
I mean,
right?
minimum.
No, you have to, right? Because otherwise, what the hell's the point? Especially now with traffic and everything else.
It's crazy.
Oh my God!
Where the hell were we?
We were talking about Virginia. We were talking about
Christ.
Virginia.
All right, so it's lobby day.
So lobby day.
Now we're in cages.
We're in cages. Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So now they're actually clearly the VCDL, which is the Virginia Citizens Defense League, is setting this whole thing up, right? So they're asking that. I mean, so they were asking for 10,000 people to show up, and I'm going to be honest with you. I know for a fact that there's 1,500 people from New Hampshire as a group alone going down there. Mm-hmm. So they're asking for 10,000 people. Whew. They're gonna get well over 50.
So this is gonna be this is so the new. This is gonna be real. This is
There was a I think she's a senator in Virginia, put out a statement today. I wish I had brought it up on my phone so I could have read it to you real quick, because it was basically, she was saying, please be careful.
Yeah.
Because I have no doubt
they're going to be something.
That the governor may purposely set something up. Ugh. Like there might be a government plant in the crowd to set things off.
Well, they were saying that the Dems were paying people to hold signs too, right? Like they make signs and they.
But the problem here
I shouldn't say Dems. You know what? I apologize. I'm not going to say Democrats anymore because it's not fair. Because there are Democrats out there. I have some friends that are Democrats and they're logical people. We're really talking about those people so far left that they can't even.
The liberals.
Yeah, like mega liberals, like people that they're not even open to conversation. Like they couldn't. You know what I mean? Like I would challenge anybody to come on the podcast or have a civil, logical conversation about some of these situations, such as this, because these people are so just brainwashed that, like you said, they're so into this idea of, you know what, let the government protect me. I don't want to worry about me. Yeah. I don't want to. You know what? Yeah.
Ask right? the Jews how that worked out.
Right? Not good, man. Not good.
Just saying.
Not good. You know what?
Ask the Chinese people how that worked out with Mao.
So right, because even if you talk about the amount of people, right, the amount of people that Adolf Hitler, Stalin, right, like we're talking millions. We're not talking hundreds. We're talking millions.
You can talk
millions.
You can talk
millions.
about Hitler. You can talk about Stalin. You can talk about Mao. You can talk about Venezuela. You can talk about Cuba, right? Ask all those people how it worked out for them.
So Hitler killed over 13 million people, recorded. That's recorded. That's not even
right.
So he had 13 million. Stalin had 20 million, and your friend, the communist chairman Mao from China, the communist, him
communist like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, bro, he was legit, dude. 45 million people. He gets the record.
Yeah.
Like imagine, I mean, I know China, the populace is
happening right now.
Yeah, right now.
It's happening right now in China. Yeah. It's not even Mao, and it's happening in China.
Right.
It's happening in Venezuela right now.
Imagine that.
You know what's funny? You all of a sudden, here come the elections. All of a sudden, you don't hear about Venezuela anymore.
You don't. You know
why is that?
You don't. And Venezuela was very prominent. One, the amount of crude oil that we bring in from Venezuela. And the relationship, how terrible that relationship was with Venezuelan president. Always, if you go to Venezuela, they hate Americans, right? That's the narrative there. They don't want Americans. They don't like Americans, and that's always been what they've said. So now you've got to. Does it not matter? Is it not important? Are they not a threat? Is that why? It
doesn't fit the narrative.
It doesn't fit the narrative, bro. Right?
It doesn't fit the narrative because when you look down there right now, they disarmed all their citizens.
Yep.
And now they're running them over with tanks.
Oh, I saw that.
But all of a sudden, nobody's covering the story, and I don't mean just CNN.
No, right. The world. The world.
Even Fox,
the world.
right?
Yes,
Fox,
yes,
Fox,
yes.
right-leaning Fox. They all of a sudden, all you talk about, dude, it's all impeachment.
Yeah,
isn't that funny? How all of a sudden, impeachment, a fake impeachment, is the story,
right?
Not these people being hit by trucks.
And you know what bothers me? What bothers me the most, brother, is. I know you had a chance to hear Pelosi, and her comments were, and I will go on record and say this, all of them, it's so the corruption is so bad because they're following one and they're following Pelosi, and if you go back,
I don't know if they're following Pelosi.
I'll tell you what, man. If you go back to the beginning,
Pelosi,
the way Trump went at Pelosi and the things that he said about her, like he literally called her some Like, you know what? If you had said those things to your wife, she'd probably like would have punched you in the face, right? Like, this is
Right. But
so
he said
from that moment, she's had a personal vendetta.
Well,
And-
not just her. You got pencil. You got pencil neck shift, right? Pencil neck.
Yes, but
And
she, if you look at her, like, I think for him, it's the. I think it's the drawer of, like, he's in that position of power. For her, I think it's personal. You could see it in her face that she's literally
But do you really
loving.
But let me ask you a question. Do you really think Pelosi can stay sober long enough for a
It's
thought?
terrible, man. That's terrible.
Do you remember? So let me tell you this story, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we killed Soleimani? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and they said, but he didn't call us.
Right.
Do you know where she was when when the phone did ring?
Where?
At a bar.
Of course, right? Where else would she be, right? But you know what? If you look,
She was at a bar.
Bro, I said it in 22. Did Obama call to say they were going to take out Bin Laden?
Of course not. And he shouldn't have. And he shouldn't have.
And he shouldn't have. Right? That's exactly what. Why would you call? Because you know right away, as soon as you call over there and say, "Hey, Pelosi, listen, we're going to take this guy out." Well, let me call my buddy Ship. Let me. Now everybody knows. Right now, everybody knows. Like, it's no secret, and that's why you could never catch anybody. That's why they could never catch, because they kept telling them when they were coming. Yeah. Hey, we're going to launch. We're going to do a special. We're going to launch. Right, and everybody knew.
How many chances did we get?
Right.
Hey,
right.
Listen.
Right.
Clinton had a chance to take out Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
Never did it.
I don't think, because it wasn't the political popular thing to do. No. They say they polled him, like, again, I hate to even bring up 9/11 because people could start thinking conspiracy, but they polled Clinton. You can go and you can research this, and they asked him, what is your top three? Is it terrorism? Is it the economy? Or is it healthcare? When they polled people were all about the economy. And the thing was, the strange thing was,
pre 9/11,
the economy was great. Yeah, but this is pre 9/11.
Yeah.
So they said because of that reason, Clinton, he focused more on the economy and not the terrorism. The fact that we had already bombs going off in the World Trade.
Yeah, like Clinton had a lot on his mind.
He had a lot on his mind.
He had
a lot on him. That's for sure. I don't know if it was on his mind or not, but when you're
was he already flying on pedophile airlines?
Yes, he was.
Then
yes, he was.
All right,
bro. That was
Just checking.
That was even pre-presidential, bro. That shit was going on for a long time. It only mattered when he was in a blue dress and he had that oil painting.
Be careful. Be careful.
I know. Right?
You never know when the Clintons are listening.
Tomorrow, man. Imagine my truck doesn't have brakes. Remember? Right?
Listen.
It could happen. Could happen.
I could hang myself tomorrow.
You could.
It
don't.
Could happen.
You can't, because you got to come back. I got to have you.
No, not.
I get you. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course. It's the same way that Epstein did it.
Epstein hung himself.
Yeah. So back to what we said. So that was, again, not to talk conspiracy theory, but that was they say that really was the beginning of the 9/11. And again, I'll repeat, the world has never been the same.
Well, I mean, Soleimani's a great guy. He was. Well, let me rephrase that. He was a great guy.
Imagine, man.
Just
killed Americans, bro.
Ask some of these Democrats.
Killed Americans.
We shouldn't have killed him. He was a great guy.
And they're all like, well, he did, but how can you have I did repeat, but how can you have a but? The guy's responsible for American lives, and I hate to say this out loud. If that was your son or your daughter, right?
Absolutely.
If you're a military mom or a military
absolutely.
dad, you would have a completely different, your completely different frame of mind, and not be thinking that way, and apologizing to a freaking terrorist.
It just goes to. He didn't do anything. They said he didn't do anything, but I clearly remember 2 days before that an attack on our embassy.
Let me ask you a question. When you saw him for the first, like, if I said the name Soleimani, right, prior to this event, would you have known who he was?
Yes,
you would have. See, I wouldn't have, but I will tell you that
most people wouldn't.
And I wouldn't have, but I will tell you that when I saw him on television, when I saw his picture on television, I recognized him. So I know that this wasn't the first.
Oh, he's been around.
He's been around. It wasn't something.
That's why I knew his name.
Yeah.
Because
so
he's been around.
So it wasn't like it wasn't like somebody I've never heard of, and I'm like, oh my god, like what happened here? No, I could heard of this guy in the past
because he
looked familiar to me.
They're those guys. They're like, all right. So we killed Bin Laden. All right. So we're not stupid. Somebody jumped in his spot.
Right. Of course, right.
This guy was with Bin Laden for a long time.
And they say that even the Bin Laden, like the fact that they took him out, there was more value in the information that he had in that compound than him actually, because at that point he was already kind of
he was in hiding.
I mean? Yeah, he
wasn't controlling anything. He was getting out messages with that messenger, which is how we found him.
Right,
but they were few and far between.
Well, you need a villain. I hate to say it out loud, but you need look without a villain. What's the government protecting you from? You know what I mean? Like it's almost like they pick and choose when they want to take these guys out because they need them. They need, you know what I mean?
They do.
And again, not to shift into something else in a different conversation here, Steve, but even the environment. You know, when.
Don't get me started,
bro,
please.
When you think,
listen,
when you think for 1 second, right? Check this out. Like this is just me logically thinking. When you think for 1 second that the government can change the climate, you're giving the government a God complex. Like seriously, guys, I don't know that the government, our government, the United States government, can fix the global problem that we have with the environment, right?
Listen, the U.S., all right? Mm-hmm. I'll even go U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
Yes, sure.
We can
Continental.
We can all go 100% green right now.
Yep. And it wouldn't.
Listen,
right?
The stuff coming out of China,
right?
Is
bro? They're selling these toys with lead on it, right? Like they're terrible, bro.
There's no.
So just for the climate people out there, the fans of the show who will love the climate, how do you think? And this is I'm asking wholeheartedly. Like if you can answer this question for me, then I will be on your. I will fight your fight. Explain to me how the government is going to save the planet. That's it's that simple. And when you think for 1 second that you're going to talk this way and say, well, you know, climate change, what are you changing? How are you going to change the climate? We are,
the climate that has been, the climate that has been, it literally is in history. We have written history, of how the climate changes.
Right.
Heat, cold, ice age.
Cycles of the planet,
brother.
Cycles, right?
How are you going to change that?
Brother, we are on a rock floating in the middle of the galaxy, right? Controlled by some unknown forces floating around a huge ball of fire, and you somehow think that the government can fix your climate.
Don't worry. It's all going to end in 12 years.
Right? Well, that's what that's what they face, right?
12 years.
Right? Cortez, that's what she said, right?
How dare you?
Right.
Why would you question this?
According to Al Gore, we shouldn't even be here, right? Because he made 2 movies. That guy made a fortune.
Wait a minute. Fortune. Al Gore?
Yeah, Al Gore.
You mean the guy who flies around in a private jet?
Bro, he made 2 movies. 2 climate change movies.
How many books?
Yeah, a couple. 4?
Okay.
4?
I'm not positive, but
like 4 books and
but yet he flies. So climate change. Why isn't he rowing across the Atlantic to do a speech?
To go meet with Greta. Him and Greta could hang out and have some lunch together, right?
Greta. With the somebody bears. Made a funny joke. What's his face? Jarvis there at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, right.
You people,
hold on,
have less education. You guys.
That's me clapping, ladies and gentlemen.
I love that man.
That was absolutely. I will tell you, even before he was done, I was already following him on Instagram, man. I went in there right away and I followed him. I got to tell you that
his Twitter's a little.
Yeah, it is a little much. Yeah, it is. But I will tell you, the idea that somebody would actually go on, it was so great. And you know what?
You know what the best part is? Do you know what the best part about this whole thing is?
What?
He's a liberal.
Yeah, right? But and he's actually like, hey guys, listen, like this is a little over the top. And you know what the best part was? Like when you look at Tom Hanks, who's more pretentious than Tom Hanks? Like, dude, I remember when
John
you were
Travolta.
Hey, listen, guys, listen. If you really like, yeah, he is. But John Travolta, I think he's got some skeletons. He's got some other stuff going on. Tom Hanks.
I think John Travolta was part of that pedophile airlines. I think he was flying the plane because he's a pilot.
I think so, right? Them Rolls Royce engines that he likes. If you guys don't know, right? Maybe you don't know if you're not old enough, or maybe you just don't know. Go watch the movie The Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks, and go see how uptight Mr. Tom Hanks actually is. Because when Jarvis was going at it, you just see the faces he was making, like he couldn't believe. How dare you, bro?
He was like,
right,
dude, what? It hurt,
bro. You had a donkey.
It hit home.
You had a donkey doing lines in that movie, bro. So don't tell me about right. Don't talk about pretentious.
Well, no, that's all right. That's all right because it was for the art.
I love
just like guns.
Yeah,
dude, who's made more money?
Yeah, right. It's true.
Than some of these guys.
Yes. Yes.
with movies and
Yes.
their guns, and
Yes.
but yet in real
Yes.
life,
Yes.
don't worry, the government will protect you.
If tomorrow the government said, listen, we are going to tax bottled water $5 on next Tuesday. Do you know tomorrow how many people are going to go out and buy cases and cases and cases and cases of water before they're right? Because
Absolutely.
my God, I got to
You'd
get
be
water,
crazy
right?
not to.
I got to get my water now because if I don't get it now, I'm going to have to pay a premium. Same idea, bro. Like they imply these things, and you're right, man. Who's making the money? Is Smith and Wesson making money? Right? Is Colt making the money? Like are these? Again, I go back to the NRA, what we were talking about earlier. Without the government, without this push and this fight from the government, is the NRA relevant?
Honestly, I believe
I
believe that the NRA is in bed with the government. That's how dirty
you need it. You need it.
See, I don't want to say the NRA because we are the NRA. I'm saying the people at the head,
the people running the NRA.
Yes, he's got to go.
Yeah,
he's got to go.
Yep.
The vice president there.
Yep.
He's got to go. When you're spending $300,000 of our money,
yes,
instead of lobbying and doing good things with that money, you're buying suits,
bro,
and taking island vacations at my expense. You got to go. And Wayne LaPierre has got to go. And until then, I will not send the NRA another penny.
I'm a charity guy. I'm all about charity. I'm all about benefits. I'm all about helping out fellow man. Did you hear about that scandal with the Wounded Warrior Project? Did you?
Yes.
Same idea. You know, you've got an organization that like Trace Atkins, right? Like big advocates, like, hey, just donate your money to good cause, help these people. You see the commercials on all the time, and then turns out like they're having these lavish fucking conventions.
That's been cleaned up.
Like that infuriates me.
That has been cleaned up.
Oh. But you know what though? Did it have to happen, bro? Did it?
No.
Like what a black spot, right? Like what a
listen, right? A lot of people will not donate to that anymore because
of that. Right? How do you blame
Absolutely.
people? Like the VA, same idea. You know, I have friends.
VA is another
I have
problem all in
friends,
itself.
bro. Like again, and you thought, like that whole scandal where people were just waiting to die.
Yeah.
And then you thought like there was that it got fixed and it got better. And I have a friend of mine who's also named Steve, who goes and
Good name.
He takes advantage of like the bus, like the bus takes him, and he there are times that he goes, brother, and he'll get driven there, and then the doctor won't be in that day. Like, you spend your whole day, you get on this bus, you drive to the Jamaica Plains, right? You're going into Jamaica Plains.
Which is never a fun
trip anyway. You sit there all day long, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, your doctor's not here today. So
he's playing golf.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. And if the doctor's not there, there shouldn't be somebody else there to read the chart and maybe just be like, hey, listen, you're still okay until, we're going to reschedule you, or even if you had a kidney thing or something, you know what I mean? Like something that needs attention.
Now, we definitely don't give our warriors the attention that they deserve.
Listen, man, you know what? I don't know, and I hate to sound like I don't want to sound ignorant because I always know there's a cost to these things. But listen, man, if you're willing to give up your life to protect the freedoms of this great nation, then shouldn't you be awarded at least?
We're spending a lot of money on a lot of worse,
right?
Like we could take money from things that we really shouldn't be doing.
Take care of these people
and take care of the people that take care of us.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it in North Carolina the mold? Like they were living in, it was the military. It was the military, and all these.
I'm not positive where it was.
It was, you know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
right? Like,
yes.
Like their housing was so dilapidated.
I think it was North Carolina. Was it Fort Bragg?
Maybe. It was somewhere. And there was mold. Like these, and you know what? It's not even the troops because the troops are overseas and they're fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
It's their families, their wives, their children, their babies living in these dilapidated buildings. The roofs are leaking. They got mold in the freaking house. You know what? You can't go buy a house, brother, without a fucking lead paint test, right?
Oh, we swearing now?
Yeah, we can drop. Yeah, because you know what? I get upset when I'm very passionate about this, man.
I'm with you.
Because you know what?
Dude, you need a home inspection.
Right.
Then the insurance company wants one too.
Oh, you can't have lead paint in your house. But meanwhile, we have our troops, the families of our troops, the ultimate sacrifice, brother, and they're living in mold. They're living in mold.
Listen.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if I'm a congressman or I'm a selectman or I'm a representative, and again, I don't want to, not a political show, right? I have health care for life. I have the best health care for life, and my family has the best health care
after one term.
After one term.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Right. So even regardless of, like some of these people that are in office right now who hate our country. I mean, I think that their number one goal is like, like they want to just go ahead and take us out. Like that's their plan from the inside. They want to take us out. I believe so. And meanwhile,
I could name a few. Yeah.
You and I, right? Like the Cortez, like you and I, we're paying for their healthcare. And that's okay. And it's not just healthcare, bro. It's not VA healthcare. You're not going to the VA. We're talking top notch, no premiums, no co-pays, no deductibles, like whatever you want.
Oh yeah, no, we'll fly you to the best doctor.
Fucking fly you, man.
We'll
it
fly
makes
you to
me
the best
absolutely crazy. But yet our troops, the people that are giving you the ability to do that, you're just out in the right.
Yeah.
I mean that just guy and I right. Take a deep breath, brother.
Dude, I'm with you.
Take a deep breath. Like
I'm
that,
with you.
I can't get. That's the stuff that I can't get past because
listen, absolutely. Meanwhile, Pelosi's doing all her little things.
What?
Hey, meanwhile, in her district, there are people shitting on the streets.
Right. That's a problem.
Hey,
imagine that.
Listen,
that you
think
feces, bro.
Hey,
feces.
here's what I find hilarious. It's a problem when somebody literally invents an app to tell you where the shit is on the sidewalk.
Hepatitis, bro. Like I think like just diseases. Like
Dude.
Imagine, bro. Imagine you're walking down the street. You're on your phone, right? And you step in somebody's heap pile of shit. You know what I mean? Like this massive steaming pile of shit, and now you got human feces on the bottom of your foot.
Yeah.
How? I mean, again. We are the greatest country in the world, yet we have this is a third world country problem. Like if you go to Somalia, right? If you,
right
like
now.
you go to Somalia, you go to Haiti, like that's what you're living in. You're living in Swalder. Like you look at Brazil, right? Like what a beautiful continent, but yet like you look at the pollution. These people are literally living in their own feces, brother. And now you go to California and you go down
San
the road.
Francisco is
right?
literally
right. Their solution was bathrooms,
toilet.
right? Weren't they going to put bathrooms in the street? Like, wasn't that their idea? Like, they were going to actually put restrooms on the sidewalks so that people won't shit.
Yeah.
But
listen.
I will say this now: the president is impeached and will always be impeached and forever will be impeached. That's what she said, man. Like,
Where's my vodka?
That was her goal.
Yeah,
that was her number one goal, was to say that she impeached him. And you know what? Again, a waste of money for everybody because we know this is going to go down.
So this is a little off topic. Let me ask you this.
Sure, go good.
Do you think that they should like maybe make her blow into a
they should make her do something. Like, you know what?
Dude, she goes on stage in front of a mic and she's plastered.
Yeah.
Nobody sees this.
Did you see that thing what she did when she actually read the 2 articles and she hit did you see that thing where they were actually going to start clapping?
And she was like,
yeah. And she does and she actually does
It's supposed to be solemn.
Right.
Somber.
And then she signed the bills with all the pens, and then they had a celebration afterwards.
You know how much those pens cost?
Come on. No, I don't. Do you know?
$3,250 a piece.
A piece. Of course.
Gold plated.
Now, I will tell you that I have seen presidents, not just this current one, but I've seen all presidents when they have a bill or they're signing.
Obama loved it.
Right. They do that like one letter at a time. They sign the bill, but it's usually like for a good thing, like you know what I mean? Like it's a good bill. It's good, whatever it is. It's and those pens are going to the people that might have had something to do with getting that. So
still stupid.
Right.
Stupid.
It is stupid. But I tell you what. If you came up with a great idea and the president was signing a bill with your name on it, would it be cool to have a pen that he signed that bill with? Like if you're person,
it would be, but at what cost?
No, not at $3,000. Not that's.
You know what I'm saying? Like, listen,
wasteful.
hey, you want to shine it with you want to sign it.
You could shine it.
You want to shine it? You want to sign it with a Sharpie?
Yeah.
At $1 a piece.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I can live with that.
Yep.
You know, $3,000 for a freaking pen.
Yeah.
I don't listen.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
You know what?
It's crazy.
I'm gonna mail her a box of Bic pens.
Correct me if I'm wrong. She is the Speaker of the House because they voted her in, not because the people voted her in, right?
Correct.
Like she's
the majority voted her
in. She like they did.
Which
not
by
us,
the way, when that happened,
because she
I thought they were gonna fist fight because they didn't. A lot of them didn't not want her
because I thought she was out. I thought she lost and she was out, and then somehow all of a sudden they're like, "Well, the Speaker of the House now is Nancy Pelosi," and I'm like, "How is that possible? Like she didn't have a district, she lost it, and then somehow became the Speaker of the House and got her district back. I don't even know how that happened.
I don't.
Bro, how can you win? And again, not to get like so political, but how do you win when you make your own rules? Like I try look, and I never pretend like I'm like this scholar. I don't. I'm a guy from Boston, bro, and I only know, what I read, what I see. But when you hear on the news, well, they're voting on whether or not they're going to have witnesses, and they're going to vote on whether or not they're going to have. Like, I'm saying to myself, well, isn't a trial a trial? Aren't there certain rules?
Yeah, how do you have a trial without
witnesses? Right? Like, aren't there like if I'm going to a trial? First of all, rule number one, I have the right to address my accuser. If you are accusing me or of wrongdoing,
you mean you want liberties?
Number one, I have a right.
You're losing those. You realize that,
all right,
right?
so how is it the president doesn't get to address the whistleblower? Like, what
whistleblower?
Right? What are you protected by? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You make your you're making your own rules. How can that be okay? And how is it that we're just sitting here watching it? And I'm asking,
what are you going to do about it?
That's what I'm saying, Steve. And I was about that. You took the words right out of my mouth.
What are you going to do about it?
What do you do about it,
Guy,
brother? What do you do about it?
Dude, they take polls.
Yep.
The polls. 60% of American people
Yeah.
don't give a shit about this impeachment, but yet we continue with it.
She
Why?
does.
Because
she does, man. She wants.
what are you going
it.
to do to stop it?
Yeah,
you're going to
nothing.
Washington and
Nope.
say stop?
Nope. Yep.
No.
Yeah, right. And even that, like, what do you? Like I said, does it mean? And I know you'll agree with this because, Steve, we all know, if anybody knows, Steve, you work at Comcast.
Yes.
And the only reason I'm going to mention this because when I say this, you're going to be like, right? Have you not been to that customer's house that somehow? I don't know how, but somehow they got an email or a phone call to the president of the company, right?
Yeah.
To Brian Roberts, and you're at their house because they've been having an ongoing. Like, how does that person get to that channel? Because I've had problems with my cell phone service. I've had problems with all kinds of services, and I've called and I've complained, and I've never once been able to get to the top. How does that person get to the top?
Because you don't know the right people.
Right?
That's
right?
what it comes down to.
Right.
You have to know the right person.
But does that mean if I know the right person, I'm already in that circle? And so to me, I don't know or feel the impact to the common man because I'm not in that circle anymore.
Well,
again, I bring this up because if you look at
it's funny you say that because that's exactly what Ricky Jarvis said.
Right.
You people have no idea
right?
what the common American is thinking.
You don't even go through you don't even graduate high school. Like you don't even go to your education is kicked back because your career is you're a movie star. Like you don't need to be smart, right? As long as you can read and you can read a script. I mean, in all honesty and fairness, again, no difference. Like if you're a sport athlete, right, and you go to high school, if you're a freak and you have those talents that listen,
I couldn't do it.
Right, I couldn't do it either.
I couldn't do it.
Right, I couldn't do it
So
either.
I'm not going to say that like they're stupid. I don't think they're stupid.
No, right.
I just
right.
think that they're
not their lack of experience.
Yes.
They don't live the same life.
They don't live
they don't know.
the common person's life.
Bro, they don't know what an overdraft fee means. They don't know what it means to feed their family. They don't know what it means that that you don't have gas. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what that is. So again, how can you have an opinion or try to shape a opinion if you don't know? Like again, I say your experiences in your life is what. Right? That's what we're all made of. Like
Absolutely.
the reason you get up every day and you put your boots on and you go to work is because if you don't, nobody's going to pay your bills, man.
No.
Right? They're going to come take everything you got.
Absolutely.
Right? Like these people don't know that. They don't know what it's, again, like MC Hammer, right? Like the guy had $1 billion, blows every single dime. Now that's somebody who obviously has no idea the value of a dollar. Like you don't know if you keep spending it, you're going to have anything, right?
He came from nothing, and that's what happens. That's what happens for a lot of lottery winners, right? So they have nothing.
Yeah, new money. They say
they
new
get
money, right?
all of this at once.
Yep. Yeah, it's like
they don't know what the hell to do.
Overload. Like athlete, right? You sign a contract, big contract, right? Like and I say athlete, and I'm thinking because he's fresh in my mind. You have Netflix?
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to watch the
new one yet.
The new Aaron Hernandez?
I've been waiting on my wife.
Yeah, I tell you what.
Because if I watch it without her, she'll kill me.
You know what? Absolutely phenomenal. I do only have one critique.
I watched the other one.
The original one.
I watched
this
that.
one's a little better. I like this one a little better because it's unedited. There's a couple of F-bombs in there. Like you hear all the phone calls, every single phone call from jail, they play it. So I mean, not to let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, I mean, it really. I watched the first 2 episodes. I got one episode left. It's a 3-part series. Phenomenal. Even if you're not a. If you one being from New England, it's pretty cool because
it hits close to home.
Because you hear he talks about Fall River, he talks about the Dorchester, so it's local, it's home. But when you really look at this and you you look at the idea. Here was and you would automatically think, and I don't want the cat out of the bag because I know you're going to watch it, and I encourage all of the fans, if you haven't seen it yet, if you don't have Netflix, get Netflix, watch it. It's fantastic. You would have thought, if I was to ask you where did Aaron Hernandez come from, like what was his upbringing? Like I think what I thought was that he was a gangbanger. Like I thought he was like in the streets of Connecticut, like a gangbanger, right? Like
if I remember correctly, he grew up in a pretty middle class home.
Yep.
And then he just went to shit.
He when his dad passed away, kind of went a little crazy. But
that's what it was. Yeah, his dad, and then he just started hanging with the wrong people.
The Patriots awarded him it was a $40 million contract, and that's kind of, and it was funny because you and I are sitting here talking about like Hollywood and how they're desensitized. He was a perfect example of that. When he was playing, and again, I don't want to let too much out, but he ended up going and playing for college, and he went down to Florida. He played for the Florida Gators. Mm-hmm. He did a lot of shit down there, and a lot of shit that I didn't know is really where a lot of this came from, and he got away with all of it. And because of the organization,
because down there, football is life, bro.
That's it. They were saying that they were protecting him so much, like lawlessness, like he was doing whatever he wanted. And then when he came here, it almost, you get that God complex, bro. You think that you're untouchable. You think you do whatever you're gonna do. But what I will tell you, in case you didn't know, and this is, and I don't want to keep talking about it because I want you to watch it and enjoy it. But he was gay. I heard
rumors.
Nope. You know what? If you watch this,
I heard rumors.
It from start to finish. They don't hide it right from the beginning. He was, and then not that there's anything wrong with that, but they were trying to say, and again, back to what I had a critique about the documentary, and the documentary. My critique is this: it was the Boston Globe. Like they interviewed a reporter from the Boston Globe.
Boston who?
Right? Like I
never heard of him.
I am absolutely anti Boston Globe. Like
never heard of him.
Like oh my god, like I am everything. And they interview her and the things that she says, and of course they talk about Jerry Callahan, Kurt Minahan, because in that whole process they were like the first ones to they were the ones that kind of dropped the news that he might have been like having a relationship with another man in jail. So this reporter from the Boston Globe actually accuses them of murder, that they were insensitive, and that was a journalistic no-no.
Why? Because they outed him.
Because
is that the concept?
Right. That, and so we're talking about a murderer, someone who was responsible. Like what they say there might have been more murders, but what they know were 3. Guaranteed murders. The 2 in Boston, and then of course Odin Lloyd. Those were the 3. But they were saying,
was there 3?
Well, he shot his buddy in the face. He didn't die. The buddy didn't die.
Oh, all right, yeah.
And then there was the 2 guys in the club, which I guess they bumped into him and he spilled a drink, and they were in a BMW and he went out and one of them, the last Furtado, was because it was a Portuguese name, and they were both actually Cape Verdean.
A lot of Cape Verdean up in Dutch.
Yeah, and he shot him both. So those were the 3, but they said in Florida there were a couple of cases where people described seeing a Hawaiian or Puerto Rican looking individual in these certain events.
What exactly was he? Do you know?
He is hold on. They said he was he's white, and then I'm just black. I think he's just African American. Black.
Because Hernandez is like
Puerto
Rican.
Yeah, like I think there's some his dad. But his dad, if you look at his dad, was black and might have had some other nationalities. Yeah. But his mom, which was a total douchebag, was white.
What a surprise!
When you listen, if they had just done the Aaron Hernandez jail conversations, like phone calls, they could have done the whole series just based on that. These phone calls are just they'll blow your mind. And so they did real well.
I think I know what I'll be doing tomorrow.
Brother, Netflix is an absolute powerhouse. I think they've done a great thing. They put out some great products. I mean, the wife and I watching The Mind of a Killer. Like there's a lot of these really great series. And
hey, you like Ricky Jarvis?
Yes.
Have you seen his show?
That is it serious? Is it what's it called? Absolutely Serious? Is that what it is?
No.
What's it called?
Shit.
What's it called? It's pretty good.
Dude, I told you my memory guy is.
That's all right, man. You know what? The more we do this, the more you get.
Seriously, like if you go to Netflix and you
Jarvis, yep.
Dude, damn it. Hey, that show.
Yep.
Season 2 is going to be coming up. He talked about it at the Golden Globes. Season 2 is coming up, guy. That
Is
show.
it, now, is it like a comedy? Is it?
It is. It is. It is. It's a comedy. It's hilarious, but it's also serious. Like this guy wants to. His wife died. Afterlife. That's it. His wife dies,
Okay.
and it just, dude, it fucks up his whole life.
So how many? Is it like look? The reason I love Netflix is the idea that you can watch it all at once. Like I hate waiting.
So season 1 is all out.
It's all out.
I want to say there's like 8 episodes or something, and then season 2 is going to come out this year.
All right.
He talked about it to go on the Globes.
You know what? I'm glad you're telling me. I will watch it.
Listen,
I did see it.
His wife dies.
Yeah.
Way off topic.
No, this is not. This is what you know. What this is, beauty, Steve. Can I just say that this is the beauty of the podcast, brother? Is that we can just, man, you can go anywhere, bro.
This dude's wife dies. They have no kids.
Yeah,
she's his life.
Yeah.
Like he is in this little town, works for this shit free newspaper that gets published once a week or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like a Sun Times
like,
type of deal,
dude,
right?
literally,
Right.
you see him. He's interview. I don't want to give everything away, but he interviews these people, and he looks at him and he goes, "Are you fucking serious? Like you called us to get in the paper with that fucking story? Like, are you serious?
Like there was a cat up in a tree type of thing,
And this
right?
guy, like, he keeps talking about killing himself. Like, he's like, fuck this, I'm done. I just want to go. And then he has a dog. So one day the dog keeps him alive, right? The next day he meets somebody else.
I can see that.
I can see that.
Just
Absolutely.
And I only mention this now. I will bring Sadie. German Shepherd, 13 years. God rest her soul. We put it down just about a year and a half ago. But you, my friend, is that a shepherd? You have a shepherd?
Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix.
Amazing, beautiful dog. I happened to take a look. I noticed it on the Instagram.
We rescue. He's 2. He just turned 2.
Do me a favor. Give people your Instagram so they can take a look. What is your Instagram handle?
SCFS_Steve.
All right, good. All
South Coast Firearm Safety _Steve. So SCFS.
And so you can go and take a look and see. And what's its name is?
You're cheating.
No, yeah, well, I would be cheating. You know me. I always cheat. Only when you. What is it? I saw it. What is it? What is his name?
Asher.
Cool name, man.
So he just turned 2.
Yep. Okay.
And so like a year and a half ago. So come July, it was July. Because we had our dog too.
Yep.
He was a rat terrier, little guy.
Yep.
He was my buddy. We had him since he was 8 weeks old. Lived to be 12. We finally had to put him down. He was just too much. His liver and everything else.
And what was he? What was it? What kind of breed?
He was a rat terrier.
Okay.
It's like a
All right.
miniature Jack Russell.
Yeah. So you went from small dog.
Yeah.
Because
to a horse.
Ash is a big dog.
Yeah. Ash is 2 years old and he's about 110 pounds.
Big boy.
Yeah. He stands up and we're face to face.
That's cool, man.
And
That's
I'm about
cool.
6 feet tall. So
you gotta go. And if anybody, go check out the Instagram. Go take a look. I mean, beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I kind of noticed he's got a harness, right, with his name on it. He's got a collar with his name on it.
You know me.
No. So do you do any training with him or house pet friend?
He's just a pet.
Yep.
But he's really smart.
Really smart.
He is really smart.
I say, you know what? I had many dogs, bro. I had retrievers, Sadie Shepherd, the smartest dog.
Yeah.
Not because she was mine, but just there was.
No, shepherds are just.
There was
smart.
a level of intelligence. I could look at her. She looked at me, and you knew she. Could, and I would imagine you have that same relationship that you could see that
that's
they
my buddy.
understand. Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's my buddy.
Yeah.
But we rescued him. He actually came from Arizona. Came all the way here. There's a. Well, listen, I'm gonna plug them because they're great people.
Yeah, do it.
So Road Home Rescue out of Rhode Island.
Okay.
They bring up these dogs.
Oh, so he was already in Rhode Island when you got him?
Yes.
Oh,
so they
great.
they don't put them in like a shelter. They don't put them in a pound.
Yeah.
They actually get fostered.
Okay.
So all these dogs
All right.
come up and they have a bunch of volunteers that.
So you're not putting them in a cage. They actually go with a family.
Dude, that dog,
structure.
The
right.
only time
right,
my
right.
dog has ever been in a cage. Well, I'm sure he was when he was in the pound. He was
Yeah,
in a cage,
kennel,
and he was
kennel.
in a cage on his way up here. After that point,
Nevermore.
he hit Rhode Island. He never went in a cage again.
Nice.
I don't even
Nice.
own
Nice.
a cage.
Nice.
I don't even own one.
You know, and I'll tell you, those dogs, and only because from personal experience, such a powerful breed.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. One, energy level super high, right? Like, right? I mean, like I know that if I didn't walk Sadie, I've talked about it before. Like if I didn't walk her daily, it was almost like ADD. Like she would get like rambunctious to the point where it was like, listen, man, let's go. You know what I mean? And I would, and every day, man, I would
just
do
happened.
it.
It just happened
right?
before I left the house.
Right? Like.
So
hey,
I
man.
got home.
Yep.
I got home, and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" He went and grabbed the toy, came back, and I'm like, "Dude, I ain't got time for this."
Yeah, give me some.
And he's like, no.
Right.
We're going to play.
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for you all day long, man.
And he does this thing where he literally runs. So my room's on our bedroom's on the first floor.
Yeah.
So he'll run, he'll jump on my bed, he'll come out, he'll jump on the couch. He literally moves my couch when he jumps on it. It slides all the way down. And he'll run around the dining room table, and then it's crazy. It's crazy. So, and then I gotta either take him outside and throw the ball or something because he's got to burn that energy.
I would imagine. Listen, and like I said, and I only know because of my own personal experience. It would literally, and she would be patient. She'd give me a minute. I could get home, but it would be a minute. When it was time, she knew. Okay, listen, it's time. Like we gotta go. And it wasn't about peeing or pooping. It was about going out. And
you got to burn that energy.
Yeah, burn that energy.
I've been locked in this house all day.
Yeah, I want out.
I want out.
And you know what? And I hate to even bring it up, but someone I work with, actually an outside vendor, comes in, and he recently, like you, before this dog, he had a smaller dog, and I believe it was a Yorkshire Terrier. And then he wanted to get a larger dog. He ended up going with a lab, getting a yellow lab. And right from the get-go, he told me he was going to be driving down to Virginia to pick up this dog, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, like, listen, man. I'm like, listen, man. Like, I let him out of the bag, man. I'm like, listen, man, if you're going to get a dog like that, I said, I only know this from experience, brother. You got to commit. Like, you just, and this is just, this is PSA to everybody.
A lab is not a Yorkshire Terrier.
Man, people have the misconception that they think of a big dog is, like, again, like a tractor-trailer truck, right? Same idea. Like, you think a tractor-trailer truck is slow. It's not. It just takes longer for it to stop. Right. Same idea with dogs, man. A larger dog just needs that much. Like, they call them working dogs. Like, you have to take these dogs, and you got to burn them off. Otherwise, you find yourself in a situation. And he's telling me, he's like, dude, the dog bites everything. The dog eats everything. The dog is, like, I can't be. I'm like, you know what, man? You got to walk the dog, bro. It's the power of the walk. And I go back to, and I'll say this, and I'll give him credit, Cesar Millan, bro. Like the dog whisperer.
Yeah.
When we got Sadie, that show was just getting big. And I applied a lot of that, dude. And I will tell you, the power of the walk, you know what I mean? Like that dominance, like all of her structure came from the walk. Like, I taught her, I was living in Fall River. I lived in a 3-family house. We had a 3-bedroom apartment.
Oh, yeah, that's even
and
worse.
I got a dog that weighs 120 pounds.
Yeah.
I need a dog, like, a powerful breed like this. I got people walking in and out of this house. I got to have control of this animal. Like, I cannot allow, because again, no different than a gun. Just as dangerous. Like, right? So I spent the time with her, Cesar Millan, like the power of the walk, did all that, brother. And I will tell you, it was the most rewarding relationship, like one of the most rewarding relationships I've ever had in my life. Was with having structure with her made it just a great experience with her. It wasn't about me coming home to a house torn apart. It was like she was so balanced because she knew that there was always that, the experience of the walk, the experience of me and her. If I was in the yard, she was in the yard. Like it was always her mind, and she was always, it was never just a dog full of this amazing amount of energy parked in a cage in the corner of a house. So, and back to what I was saying, like, and I told Matt, I'm like, listen, bro, like the only way you're going to stop that dog from being that way is by burning them off. Like get a treadmill. Like even if you watch Cesar Millan, like he teach a dog to get on a treadmill and walk for 20 minutes. Like you just got to burn off this energy, right? Because ultimately a canine, right? These animals are bred to run, right? To
do something. Yeah.
To do something, man. Like just move around a little bit, man.
Yeah.
And then people I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Everybody, like, listen, everybody wants a dog.
Yeah.
Until they have one.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And then they don't want to walk it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Listen, they don't want to clean up its shit. They don't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? They don't want to feed it. Nothing.
And you know what? Then the animosity grows because now you can't go on vacation when you want to. You can't go away for the weekend when you want to because somebody's got to watch the dog. Somebody's got to feed the dog. Yep. And again, I don't think people really, really think about the commitment, man. And that was my thing. And even now, my family, and it's funny because my wife and my kids are like, oh, another dog. And I had a great relationship with Sadie. I mean, probably the best. You know what, man? And I'm sure you as well with Ashley. You guys have an amazing relationship, so you can understand what I'm saying. And it's almost like I want to be a little selfish right now, man. Like I was so committed to her, like I wouldn't go on vacation.
I swore. No, when,
right.
So Sparky, my little rat terrier. When we put him down, so we had 3 dogs at one point, and then it went down to 2 dogs, and then a cat. And, we put the first dog down because he was a beagle and he was a jackass, but he was a great dog still. You know what I mean? But he had his heart was 3 times the size it was supposed to be.
Ugh, that's
so
terrible.
Yeah, and
you don't want the thing to suffer.
You
got to do the right.
Listen, the vet said we can try and medicate it, and I'm like, what? So my daughter can watch him fucking die of a heart attack in the backyard? No, I'm good.
You go with some dignity,
I'm good.
man. Right? Just let me go out with some dignity. Right.
So we put him down. That was Josh. Then we ended up with the cat and Sparky, and we put the cat down because her liver was fucked. Sparky was blind. Was diabetic for 2 years. We were giving him injections twice a day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, listen.
Oh man, and then
we did what we could.
How difficult? That's such a
listen. We did what we could.
Right.
Then the liver went, and no, that was enough. That I've been selfish long enough.
Yep.
That now, it's just it's time. So when we did that, we were pet free, and I said, "That's it.
Done.
No Me more. And my wife agreed. Done. No more. I'm not doing it. Now we're free. We can go on vacation, like you said.
Right.
Free.
Right.
Yeah. Then my wife saw a picture.
Yep. So she's the one that found.
She's the one, and listen. He was at his foster home in West Greenwich or Warwick or somewhere down there in Rhode Island. Yeah. And she drove down there to see him.
So let me. You mentioned these dogs are fostered, right?
They're fostered.
So did you meet the people that had the dog?
My wife did.
So was it rough for them? Like I can't imagine. Look, like man,
they didn't want to let him go
because I'm stupid like that, right? 'Cause
I couldn't do
it. Right, exactly. Because once and it's no like once you get the animal, I'm like now I'm in love with you.
And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
When we got him, he was housebroken.
See, man,
they did it.
That's even better.
That's
even better. My wife was sleeping on the floor. with the dog because we didn't want the dog to piss her. So she'd sleep on the floor with Sadie, and then Sadie would move a little bit, and she'd bring her out until she was eventually trained to.
Yeah.
No, well, that's a big feat.
I think.
So somebody put the time in with the dog.
He had a couple accidents when we first got him.
Yeah, that's normal though, right? New environment, like you don't know. I don't know. Hey, listen, I don't know where the bathroom is, right?
Listen,
somebody's got to tell me where the bathroom's at.
For all I know, he was giving me signs and I didn't know it at the time.
Right. Yes, right.
So and then I went to Petco and I did dog classes with him.
Oh, that's cool.
Me and him,
that's cool.
Just basic stuff.
Yes,
but
yes.
The girl laughed at me. She laughed at me. She's like, "You don't.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Right. Meanwhile, they got a Rottweiler over there that's chewing on the guys.
Because he was already doing everything that we were there
for, right? Because they do like a basics, like one-on-one.
Yeah, it's basics, sit and you give him a treat when he does it, and all right, now we're gonna go over here and how's he interact with this dog, and then we go out into the store and we walk him on a leash, and that I had already been working on him with that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then we went in there, and by the time we got in there, 2 minutes in, he was doing what I was telling him to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty good, man.
Listen, I'll never find another dog like him.
Yeah, I say the same thing.
I got lucky.
I say the same.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
He's a great dog. Like and people look at him and go, "Oh, he's the nicest dog in the world."
Yeah, man. And you know what? And it's funny you mentioned that because it was the same thing with Sadie. People would be very intimidated when they see her, but in all reality, man, she was just a great dog. You could go over, you could pet her. Like she wasn't aggressive. She wasn't.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, if I wasn't around, she was very protective of the family. Like if you couldn't come in my house, you couldn't come in my house if I wasn't home. Like that. But as long as I was home. Typically, like Steve, you came in tonight. We haven't seen each other in quite some time, you and I. Like tonight, you would have came through the door. She would have barked. You would have came to the door. I would have shook your hand. She would have seen me shake your hand. She would have sniffed you a little bit, and she would then at that point would want you to pet her. Yeah. If we never had that interaction, if you just had walked in the house, she would probably attack you.
Yeah.
But as long as that interaction took place,
Yeah.
she was totally fine, man. Never had an issue. But
Dude,
I had
they
to
know.
be around.
They know, dude.
Right?
They know.
Right. And unless you have,
They know.
and I believe this, you know what? The fans, people, unless you have it and you have that, you don't know it. You don't realize that relationship. But when you have it, and again, her and I were connected, and I can imagine, like, it's just, you have that connection with the animal. But, bro, again,
My wife's going to be really mad at me for saying this if she ever hears this, but
she's hearing it right now, brother.
I don't know if she is.
Yeah,
she's
is.
she's pretty sick right now on the couch.
Oh,
So
well, you know what? Let's send some good. We're sending her some
absolutely.
good energy, man.
But if she hears this, dude, I look forward to coming home to that dog.
Right.
I do.
Right. Unconditional, brother. It's unconditional.
It is.
Like, you know what they say? The funny story, and I'm sure you've heard this before. If you took your wife, right? We're just listen, everybody. Like, this is just we're just talking. We're just talking.
Oh man,
if you took your wife and you threw her in the trunk of your car and you drove for an hour, right? And then you pull over to the side of the road and you open that trunk. I bet you when she gets out of that trunk, she is gonna punch you and knock your ass out. Correct?
Absolutely.
If you put your dog in the trunk, you drive for an hour and you open the lid to that trunk.
He's happy to see you.
He's like, happy as shit to see you, right? And there it is, brother. That's the difference, right? That's that unconditional. A terrible example, but right.
Yeah.
But dude, at the end of the day, like that's what the unconditional love. And it's a shame, you got some people out there, man, that just like the Michael Vicks of the world. That you know what? That's again, I don't know what that bone is, brother. And I will be honest with you, man. I am a believer in an evolution, and I think even right now, like say for example, the grid goes down, right, and we're all back to like you can't go to the grocery store. If I got to go hunt for deer in the woods, like I'll do that. I'll go because I know if I don't do that, I can't feed my family. But for me today, day and age, like to go out and shoot, like I just, you know what, man, I whatever that bone is, I don't have it. I mean,
it's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. And you're a hunter, right? Like you hunt.
No, actually, I have never hunted in my life.
You've never hunted in your life?
Never.
No kidding. Would you?
I absolutely want to.
You want to. So like, and you mentioned bow, like archery, like would you rather?
Yep.
So would you be afraid of missing? Like maybe like you impale the thing and the thing's running through the woods, like, you know what I mean? Like.
It could happen,
right?
I guess.
I don't know, but then again, I understand. Like, you need population control, bro, because people, right?
How bad is it out here?
It is. You know what? Like, it gets to a point where it's not even like when I moved here.
Yeah.
And guys, quick, hurry! Yeah. There's a deer in the backyard. No, nobody cares, bro. Like they're everywhere. Like I almost on a daily basis, they're in the backyard.
Yeah.
And
you need to get a bow.
Right? I mean, I could survive out here. You could survive out here. Like just
dude, you need to get a bow.
I have one. You know what? I have one in the garage. My issue is with it. I don't have the strength to. You know what? If you want to take a look at it,
turn it down.
Listen, I'm not to get to. I'll let you take a look at it. But for remind me, I'll let you. It's a bear. It's a compound bow.
Yeah.
I bought it like I wanted to go.
It's a bear.
It's a bear.
It's definitely adjustable then.
Yeah, and it's. I wanted to go to the trade. What is it? Trader Jan's. Trader Jan's. I was gonna shout out, right. I wanted to go over there and shoot some.
Love Jill at Trader Jan's.
I think
and Jonathan.
What is how many pounds is yours?
I just turned mine up to 60.
Okay, see, so that's a problem because mine's like 80 plus. Like it's over 80 pounds, and I'm not a big guy, and I got the one, and I got a little mild tear in my rotator cuff.
Yeah, listen, I like I just told you, I just turned mine up to 60, and as a matter of fact, I was at Trader Joe's just the other day with my buddy, and
that's a cool place. Is that still like? Have they changed it at all, or is it still the same?
I was sore the other day.
Right,
the day
after.
That's
a lot, man.
Yeah.
Now, how many? A lot? You do a lot of them?
We 50 plus arrows.
Ooh,
because we were sighting it in.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We were sighting it
That's
in.
a lot.
So, yeah, Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
She changes stuff up. Like she has some cool stuff there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got.
Like, and is it busy? Like, are you waiting in line? No, you just.
I've never waited there.
That's nice.
Never.
That's nice. I said I've been there a couple of times,
and they're really great people.
Yeah,
like honestly,
Are there many places like that? Or there aren't many places around me like that, right? Are there? Like for archery?
There are a few. So you have her there. You have there's one in Middleborough. There's one in Attleboro. I think that's it around here. There's a bunch in Rhode Island, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of people like yourself that are really into like the archery and I mean, for me, it's fun.
Reedy's in Middleborough. Reedy's.
There you go. It's fun. I mean, it's a blast to shoot. Rachel actually was the one. She's like, "Hey, I want to learn how to shoot." So I ended up buying the thing. I mean, I bought it on eBay, and I obviously didn't realize that the thing was so like no joke, bro. Like,
I'd have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what a good
Well,
time.
we should go then. We should go. We should make. You know what I mean? We should do it. We should do it next time you go. Let me know when you go.
Just throw this out there, right?
Yeah,
There's something
yeah.
called a Tri-County Archery League.
Yeah.
And you like tomorrow,
Yeah.
Holbrook, right? They have a shoot. You go, you pay whatever it is, $10, I think, and you actually shoot at like 3D animals. So you walk through the woods.
Oh yeah.
And you shoot different distances at different animals, unknown distances. So you have to gauge the distance and then shoot the animal.
But now I'll tell you, unless you've shot a bow, it's not that easy, man. It's a talent. There is and typically. Yeah. I know you can rent a bow, right? You can go to training and you can rent. They'll let you borrow a bow, but I mean, unless you like really, you're practicing with the same bow. You're right in order to compete or do something like that, because probably shoot a tree or something, bro. What I mean?
Even when you hit a tree, it's such a good time.
I'd have to hope that even like if I was hunting, I would need a full automatic like to shoot a deer, because brother, I'm such a terrible shot. I really am. Like I can't. You know what? And I'll tell you, like not that we're kind of full circle here, talking about guns again, but I was doing the wrong. Like when I was shooting, I'm right-handed.
Yeah.
I was closing my left eye and using my right eye. And then I realized that I should close my right eye and open my left eye, and I was able to shoot better. Or was it the other way around? It might have been the other way around.
So this was covered in your safety class?
It was covered in my safety class. But listen, I was trying to. The only reason I bring it up is because, I know you mentioned like adjustment. Like you always want to be able to find that spot, right? The comfort spot where you know the recoil and you can aim and you can shoot.
Yeah.
But I always try to adjust, and I found that the difference in just your eyes.
Well,
really,
that would mean that you're left, even though you're right-handed, you're left eye dominant.
Dominant, right?
And I showed
there is
you,
a way. There's a method, right? There's the
yes.
method, like now to do that is what? Like you put your fingers.
So you got your triangle there, like this, right? You focus on one spot on the wall.
Yep.
Right, triangle. Focus on a spot on the wall.
Yep.
And don't even think about it. Just bring it back, and it's going to automatically go to your
dominant eye. That's cool, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But so in saying that, unless you shoot, you don't know, right? Because you know what? I could go to the range, and if I didn't take, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I just want to just let people know how important it really is to do the safety course. Because maybe I know whatever state you're in, I'll let you know that, bro. The podcast is all over the world. Like where every state, New York, California, Wyoming, Virginia, like everybody's listening. So there's a lot of different states that are listening to this.
I just got way more nervous. I don't know why.
No. But like in the state of Massachusetts, things are different, right? Like things just are different.
Yeah.
So I can't get my license. I couldn't go. I know I'm going to bring this up because I know we promised our fans a little bit of the talk about getting your license.
I don't know how we ended up.
I know. Well, you know what? Because we're great friends and we haven't spoken in a while. So this is just so organic and fantastic. I can't even tell you. By far the best podcast, in my opinion, anyway. And then I'll listen to this 5 times and I'll critique it. But back to my point is I could not go and get my license to carry without that certificate from you saying that
in the state of Massachusetts.
In the state of Massachusetts,
you have to have one of various classes that are available.
So the reason I bring that up is so even if you're in a state where you're not required to have that safety course,
right?
Me personally, I would recommend that you do that.
Absolutely.
Like there's, and if you can involve, and I know in your case, which is fantastic, Steve, and if you don't mind, you email. Do you have email? Is there an email that people could if I wanted to book some time with Steve for a safety course, and I know you do the group events, like you can have, like in my case, when we did ours, I don't know what it costs today and what it different was. I know it's been a few years, probably close to 10 years, but it obviously the value, if I could get a couple of my friends together, right? Like say I could get 5 friends together and say, hey, Steve, can you come to this place?
Yeah,
and
so if you have a group of like 5 people or more, I'll actually travel to you. If not, then I do them at my house.
Okay, so what? No, so what is some can we talk about some of the pricing? Is that something that fluctuates or typically?
Yeah, I typically get $100 per person. Per person, yeah, which is what I've always gotten. I've never raised the prices.
So like what if okay, so does the size of the group matter? Like if I have more people involved, is there a discount or is it just
depending on how many people?
Yep.
I may throw like the person who's hosting it. I may just say, all right, you're not paying.
That's a good idea.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a great idea.
But everybody else,
or if they mention like the Bobby Couto Show, like they heard
right.
it on the Bobby Couto Show, and
and
they want to book some time with you. And that's the reason why I bring it up, because I think that's really valuable to someone. Like for example, if I was thinking about getting my license to carry, the idea that I could do it with friends and family, I think it makes instead of, you know what, Steve, if I had to go to a place,
It always makes it more fun.
right. If I got to go to A1 gun dealer, right, and I got to go sit in a classroom with 10 other strangers, okay, I might do that. But if I could be one, your home, or one, my home,
Right.
and have 10 of my friends and family with me, or
Absolutely.
6, right?
It always makes for a good time.
Right.
Those are the best
Right.
classes, honestly, because they always come up with questions, and then this guy starts busting that guy's balls, and it always turns into a fun class. It always makes it go by faster. It always makes everything better. And the more I personally, I like to answer questions.
Yep.
So I have my whole spiel, right, that I have to do legally, right. And then, but people don't always understand everything, because I'm not going to lie, Massachusetts the laws here are very, very convoluted, and they don't make sense. A lot of them don't make sense. A lot of them, if you could literally have 5 police officers in front of you and ask them the same question, you're going to get 5 different answers, because
they all interpret it.
It's all in how you interpret the law. So people always end up asking questions, which I love. Right? They think they're bothering me, but I live for that.
Right. Well,
so
how many? I mean, you know what? There's no such thing. I'm going to say this. There's no dumb question, right? Because
that's not necessarily true.
Well, when you're talking gun safety, right? Well, yeah, right. When you're talking gun safety, I would imagine people would probably ask. I mean, I can only imagine. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So but then everybody. So then this guy has a question off of that guy's question, and then and then it just snowballs.
Right.
And that's when it turns into the best class for everybody, because everybody gets
and they're comfortable
that extra knowledge. Because you always have the people that are scared to ask a question, right? Like they don't want to look stupid, so they don't want to ask you that question.
Right.
So they walk away. If it was just them in the class, they would walk away without that knowledge.
Right.
Now you have the guy, the ball buster in the group that starts it off.
Right.
And all of a sudden, everybody's
lightens up. Yep,
nobody's got a question, but all of a sudden now
you broke the ice.
Everybody's got a question, which is awesome, because now everybody's questions get answered.
Right.
So
right.
So I love it.
You know what? I think of a midwife, and did you see that recently? That midwife, she officially delivered the most 5,000 babies.
No, I didn't see this.
I only bring it up because if I was to ask you, Steve, how many people have you served? If you just throw right? Imagine if you kept track of that,
few hundred,
right? Right?
Because I go long stretches without doing a class.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it just seems like
spurts.
All of a sudden, in the spring, everybody's going to want to get their license to carry, because summer's coming. Everybody wants to
outside.
Yeah, everybody wants to go outside. So now it's, my husband has their license to carry.
Yeah.
I want to go shooting.
Yeah.
Let me get mine.
Right.
All of a sudden, I will say that in the past few years, it has been majority women.
No kidding. That's awesome, bro. I love to hear that.
Women. Absolutely.
Because again, it's always been the stigma that women are afraid, and they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Woman power, protect yourself. And I think even if, again, the idea, for me, I never want to pull up my gun. Because I have the rule of look, if I'm pulling my gun out, then chances are I'm going to use it. You got to bring me to that point. It's not just going to be the fact that you cut me off on the highway and I'm pissed off. That's never going to happen. But if I get to a point where I feel that myself or others, their lives are in jeopardy, and I draw my firearm, my intent now is, listen, I'm going to shoot you. I've made that decision because I have drawn. I have a gun now. You see it.
Yeah.
And I think, getting women right. I think now women being in that same state of mind of, you know what? I'm not going to be a fucking victim. You're not going to get me in an alleyway. You're not going to get me getting in my car. You're not going to get me coming out of the mall. I am going to be able to protect myself. One technology I think is fantastic. Phones, no longer can you hide, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So that being step one, but step two, you get into that Uber, and it turns out that it's that psycho, and he's going to take you, into the woods somewhere and never be heard from again, and now that's the difference, man. Right?
Yeah.
Now this woman,
or
right?
flip that over, right?
Yep.
So you're the Uber guy.
Yeah,
and you're just picking some random guy off the side of the street, man.
That just decided to lose it.
Happened not that long ago.
Just decided to
lose
lose
taxi cab driver.
Yep. Just all of a sudden, off it done, and you're the right. Yeah, because he took didn't he? Right. Was that Florida? Was it Florida that he was driving around with the taxi cab shooting at people? Right. Yeah, like
I don't know about this.
It was another like crazy gunman. They ended up shooting the guy, but he was in a taxi. He ended up. It was. You know what? I'll have to do the research on it. And
There was one that was a UPS driver.
That's what I'm thinking of. The
UPS driver.
That's what I'm. You know what? You're right. That's what I'm thinking
Let's
of.
not even talk about that. 'Cause
That's what I'm thinking
that
of.
was horrendous.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. UPS.
Listen, I love law enforcement.
Yep.
That was the
Bad.
most ridiculous incident I've seen in a long time.
Whew, you
Man,
know what?
hiding behind hiding behind people's cars.
Yeah.
With them in it.
Wait a minute. That's that. Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
And you know what? I'm very cautious with that. And the only reason I am, Steve, is because I wonder how would I react in that situation.
Well,
Like, it's one thing for us to be sitting here, right, in the comfort of this room and saying, you know what, man,
Absolutely,
I would
Bob.
be like, blah, blah, blah. But when you're in that situation and that chaos is all around you,
Hey, absolutely.
right?
I get that, right? But here's the thing, man. These people are supposed to be more trained than you and I.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
not only
combat ready,
listen,
like if
not
the
only
time
are
comes,
not only are they hiding behind innocent people, probably honestly,
yeah.
Hey, it probably
Yeah.
never even crossed their mind. I would
Right.
imagine it never crossed their mind.
No.
Not only that, but they're crossfiring at each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That was bad. That was
Do you know
bad.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was just.
Wasn't there another one where a police officer got shot? I believe it was like a storefront of some sort, and the police, like, it was one of those situations where it was like a crossfire.
It happens all the time.
It happens all the time. You don't even
I mean, listen, I've never been there, so I can't talk about it. But
It's you know what,
tunnel vision.
Yeah,
And,
and again, you know what, and for me personally, like, it's beyond the woods. Like when you think about, you know, it's one thing to see a tree line, but when you're shooting that bullet, realizing
you gotta
what's
definitely
on
know.
what's on the other side of that tree line, right?
That's
I mean,
that's one of the rules, right? You got
right.
to know what your
You gotta
target
know
is
what
and
your
what's
target
beyond.
is, what's beyond it. Right.
And so you would think that
Yeah, you'd
being
be
law
combat ready.
enforcement, you know.
But you see some of these people, man. And like
Hey, listen.
and no offense to anybody, but these people can't even control their own weight, but yet they're in law enforcement, and these are the people that
Listen,
right?
you have law enforcement that, you know, they pull their gun out
ultimate respect.
twice. Absolutely,
Yes, ultimate.
Listen,
yes,
I couldn't do what they do because,
Right,
especially nowadays,
right.
I couldn't do it.
Right.
But you know, you have some that are avid shooters and they know what they're doing.
Right.
I would say that that's even the majority.
Mm-hmm.
But you have some that they pull their gun out twice a year when they have to qualify,
Right.
and then they never shoot it
They
again.
never shoot again. No.
And it's. Do you?
You know,
I don't know.
to me,
would you want to depend on that for your life?
No. No, again, listen, if my job was jumping out of an airplane, like if every day my job was, Bobby, your job is we fly 10,000 feet and you jump out of an airplane, I'm checking my parachute every day, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Twice a day, right? I want to make sure that when I pull the cord, this thing's gonna, right?
Yeah.
So this should no difference, bro. If my job, this is like you know what, aside from a taser, because I think a taser is a great tool to have.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, like, this is the difference between life and death. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, this is
I'll tell you
not
what,
only mine, but the people
Yeah.
I'm protecting. So
And
shouldn't
funny
I?
you say that because I believe that the taser was probably one of the best things that we gave law enforcement.
Modern
in a
technology, right?
long
Like,
time.
just right, amazing. But you know what? I will also say that I've seen those videos where people are just not even affected by it. Like they say, I guess
Yes.
PCPs. Like if you're on
Dude,
PCP,
meth and
right?
that.
Meth and
Oh,
all that
dude.
stuff. Like literally psychologically. But the thing that puzzles me about that is you know, you work in the industry, I work in the industry, I've worked in the industry, knowing the dangers of electricity, right? And the idea of like the idea of an energized situation, like, in your muscles contract, right? Like if you touch something, the fear, like, you know, you work in Comcast, you know, you climb the pole, you're up there working. If that conduit, if that cable is energized and you grab it with your hand, chances are you're not gonna be able to let go. Right? That's right. That's
that's the
so
thing.
how is it, man? Explain to me, like the 40,000, 40,000 volts or whatever it is. How is it that these guys? How is it the brain tells how do they not constrict and just fall to the ground? Like, I don't get it.
It's a lot of times it's a bad tase too.
Do you think that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thick skin, maybe a bad spot,
dude, bad connection, and because you got to get both
See, I
probes
never
in.
even thought of that.
So there's two probes.
Right.
You got to get both in.
Right.
It's
They're like
kind
little
of
hooks.
like a defib.
They're like hooks, right? They're like fishing hooks.
Yeah,
Once they're in, they go in.
They stick. But
Yeah,
I
didn't even think of that, bro.
dude. It's kind of like a defibrillator, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah. The closer you
one
get-
pad is not going to defibrillate.
Right.
You need both.
Right. So
That-
one pin goes, the other one,
Right, and that's where the charge is
I
between
never even
those
thought
two.
of that, bro.
So
yeah.
Listen, but when they're in that far in a drug-induced state, a lot of times, dude,
it's amazing, bro.
Hey, man, the strength that 5 foot, one chicks, 80 pounds soaking wet, dude, they will kick the shit out of you.
Right, like it's absolutely amazing that one, that's even possible, and two, the strength of the human body, right? That you could actually alter
strength you don't even know,
right? Like that's the idea that once you get past those mental limitations in your mind, right, and that you have these drugs that you're able, that blows my mind, and it's amazing. So again, back to the original point of us even talking about it is being just I guess proficient with your firearm and being able to shoot this thing and knowing that.
I tell people all the time, if you're gonna get your license to carry and then you're going to buy a gun. And you're going to go to the range once a year, don't buy a gun.
Let me ask you this.
Save your money.
Let's just and again, I only want to just kind of really get into a little bit of the detail as far as the process goes. Like, so you live in New Bedford.
Yes.
I was born, raised Fall River, Mass. And those are two cities that are pretty notorious with difficulty in obtaining a license to carry. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So I moved to a different town. I live in a smaller town, Berkeley, and I didn't have my license when I lived in Fall River. It just so happened that when we went through the process, we had just moved here.
Yes.
We were having a problem with coyotes. I'm like, I got to do something about coyotes. Like, it's funny you mentioned coyotes in the beginning of the podcast because that was really the reason why I got my firearm. Primary was I didn't want to be in a situation where I got a coyote or a rabbit animal in my, because I live in the woods, attacking like my dog, for example.
I was just thinking that.
Right? You know what I mean? Like, I would just be like, and I walk in the cranberry bogs.
I grab that thing
every
with
day,
my own hands.
Right? Like, I walk in the cranberry bogs every day. Like, I wanted to be able to protect myself. But outside of that, living in Fall River, living in New Bedford, I knew that in Fall River, I was going to have to get like a letter of recommendation from like somebody from the police department. Like I was going to, the amount of red tape that was involved in me going to get my license to carry, it almost seemed to me, and I hate to say this out loud because you're probably going to be upset about it, is I almost felt like, geez, it's not worth it. Like what?
I'm not upset about that.
You know what I mean? Like I actually said to myself, like, what? Why am I going to go through all this bullshit, right? Why go to all this trouble if they're just going to deny me? I'm going to pay $100. Like,
well, so that's the thing. So they can't deny you. They have to have a really, really good reason to deny you.
So perfect example. Like even if they don't deny me, like so when I applied for and this is value in this podcast, and here it is right now. When one of the biggest questions or one of the most difficult questions when I had my application and the answer was, what is the reason, or I should say the question, what is the reason you want a firearm? Like, right? What is the reason and purpose you want a firearm? And right away, like I'm thinking to myself, okay, I like to go to the range. I want to shoot the range. And that was what I was going to write down. But then we spoke. And you told me something different. So if I'm going for my application and it says reason for firearm, your answer is?
All lawful purposes.
All lawful purposes. And I've told people that. And I have people that have applied and gone for their license. That's exactly what I tell them. I would have never even thought something as simple, a phrase that small, is purposeful. And that's, you know what?
Honestly, you can write whatever you want in that box. Because if they're going to restrict you, they're going to restrict you. So New Bedford. Yeah, so here's the thing, so New Bedford used to restrict you.
Limited? Is it? What is it?
They like New Bedford would restrict you to hunting and targeting. So in other words, even though you had a Class A license to carry, large capacity, even though anyways, you couldn't carry.
Wow.
So you could literally take your
I can have a gun. So walk this with me real quick, just people understand. So I get a license like that with that restriction for sporting purposes, right?
So they would either put sporting purposes or hunting and targeting. I think it was hunting and targeting, and they migrated over to sporting.
So I want to go to the range, right? I'm home right now, right? And I want to go to the range to shoot my gun. What's my process? Like, what do I have to do to be in law?
Unload your gun.
Okay.
Put it in a case or put a trigger lock on it of some sort. Lock it up. Store the ammo separately in the furthest compartment away from where you're at. So in other words, you always get the smart ass in the car. I say in the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
They say, well, I have a pickup truck. Okay, well then in your back seat. If you don't have a back seat, then under your passenger seat.
Yeah. So the idea is like the two being as far apart.
The idea
from one
is
another
it's
as
not
possible.
within your reach, and
Right.
you can't use it. Okay, so now you get to the club.
How
whatever.
is that, man? God, I mean, I don't want to. I'm just. I struggle with it because I'm trying to play it out in my head. Like, how is that even like logical? But go ahead.
So then you shoot again. You unload it,
and
do all the same bullshit on the
and
way back.
Right. And God forbid, like I have it in my holster and I get pulled over, right? And I tell, right, because now my license
That's
says
all it takes for you to get revoked.
done.
Done. Depending on the cop. Clearly, depending on the cop.
But I think in today's climate, brother, it's a little different, man. I think you're not getting away with it. I think like right now, and you know what? I think it could be the coolest cop around.
No,
I don't think they're willing to take the chance, right? Cause,
it depends on the cop,
right?
Because you have to remember a lot. So we talk about law enforcement as if they're against us, right? You have to remember a lot of law enforcement is us.
Right.
With us.
Right.
They're
Yes.
patriots.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They are with us. So
cops, citizens on patrol.
okay.
Right.
Exactly.
All right.
So it depends on the cop. Okay. I guarantee you here in Berkeley, you get pulled over.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do shit.
Yeah, probably not. Especially if they see my address, they know I'm from the town. I could probably see that. But what if now I'm in downtown Boston?
Well, listen, Boston in itself, anywhere in Boston,
right? It's gun free everywhere. Like you can't, right?
Do you know that Boston Common is
bro, and that's
no weapons allowed. There's literally written in the DCR's bylaws that you cannot have a weapon.
I'm
within
so glad
Boston
you brought
Common.
that up because that's the and again, forgive me, brother. That's the reason why I tend not to carry because. What if I end up in the Boston Common? Like, you know what? I'm out with my wife. I'm enjoying my day and
concealed,
right? But technically, I'm breaking the law, right?
Listen, technically, yeah, but
all right. Here's my scenario, real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna play this with me. So I'm in Boston Common, right? I have my gun. It's concealed. Nobody knows I have it.
Yes.
Something happens. I witness an event take place which would warrant me to draw my firearm. I do so, but I am in a gun-free zone. I'm doing a good thing illegally. Am I correct?
Yes.
How, like, am I willing to take that chance, right? So
Are you?
That's what I'm saying. So
Are
what
you
happens?
in danger? Is your family in danger?
What if, okay, how about this? What if it's not what if I see a man and a woman and I see a man strangling and killing a woman in front of me?
As horrible as this is going to sound to you.
Yep.
Turn around and walk away.
Jeez, man.
Because of where you are at.
Imagine.
Because of where you're at, and I'm not talking about Boston Common.
What if it's a terrorist? Okay, how about that?
No,
how about if it's a terrorist?
Let me finish my
okay,
thought.
Go
Go
ahead.
Because of where you're at, and I don't even mean Boston Common, I mean Massachusetts.
Yep.
Okay, because only in Massachusetts can you shoot somebody who just broke a window to climb into your house at 2:00 in the morning.
Yep.
Shoot him, kill him, and his family sues you because he got killed
on my property,
in your house,
in
not
my house.
on your property,
in my house, yeah,
in the house.
in my house. So that makes me technically liable,
or even worse,
right? I'm liable.
Hey, listen, even worse. This is the same state where the guy can break the window, cut himself coming in through the window, and sue you because he cut himself on your window, and win.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But
so
okay. So back to Boston. Like we're in the Common. What if it's a terrorist event?
Listen.
Am I a hero? Am I a hero or
in my eyes, yes.
Okay, great. But how about the law? Like the letter of the law. What happens to me? Am I now in court? Like because now the news.
Oh, dude, you're in court. As soon as you pull out that gun,
right?
You're in court.
Oh, man.
Guaranteed.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. They make it impossible. Again, Steve, I am all about it. Second Amendment, like I support it wholeheartedly. Like it's on my wall. But I say to myself, there's so many restrictions and limitations to it that no matter where I am, no matter what I do, somehow I could get myself in some serious trouble.
Absolutely.
Right?
Listen, dude, they go after law enforcement for using deadly force.
You're a good guy, Steve. You are. You know what? You are a good guy, and I know for a sheer fact I can say this wholeheartedly, like myself. If you and I were in a situation where we could do something to save someone's life, we would do that.
I would, yes.
At all costs. If I know that there's someone
listen,
right,
I've always said
right,
this.
right,
I've always said this. Okay, if it's you, the criminal,
yep,
or my wife, or my kids, or me, my family wins every time.
Every time. Yeah,
Every
hands down. That's
time.
the reason why, right? That's the wholehearted reason why.
And what comes after, I'll deal with it. But in my heart,
Yep.
I'll know my family
Yep.
is fine.
Could you walk away? Could you? We're in the common, and it's not your family. You and I are out. We're hanging out. We went out for some drinks, and we're hanging out in Boston.
Yep.
And that event takes place. You see a terrorist event take place. You're gonna draw.
I am.
You're gonna draw.
I am.
Yeah.
But I can't tell my students to.
No, of course not.
But if you're asking me if I will,
totally and we're talking about
I
a
am.
situation where you know, without a shadow of a doubt, there is a terrorist act taking place at that moment. You can save lives. You're the guy. You're the guy. Like just in that church.
Absolutely.
You're the guy who can draw. You know what? And in all honesty, if anybody's pulling out a gun and bust a comment, I want it to be you, not me, because there's innocent bystanders.
dude, I'm not that good. I'm not that good of a shot,
bro. I'm terrible, man. I am.
Yeah.
God forbid.
I am. So I am.
Yeah.
But
you're saving people. You're saving. But again, now there you go. You better get a good lawyer. You better hope that there are people that have you back, because in a situation like that, now you're gonna have to defend yourself because you had your gun in a place you shouldn't have had it.
well, you people who carry.
Yep.
And I don't have this, but I should.
Yep.
Need to have carry insurance.
There you go.
So USCCA has some. There's it's an organization called USCCA.
Tell me about that. That's very interesting. I've never heard of this.
They clearly you pay them,
because I'll tell you what, I paid Goal, and Goal sucks ass, because I had a situation and I called Goal, and they told me pretty much to pound dirt. Like you know what, I'd love to sit here and say the Gun Owners Action League is a good organization and they were helpful, but the one time that I called them and asked them for help, I had a situation, just long story short, with a tenant, and it was a little.
I remember this.
Yeah, that whole situation where my mother was assaulted.
Yeah, they're not going to do nothing.
Nothing, man.
No, because that's not what Bobby. That's not what they are.
Yeah, but I thought like they legally, like I had legal questions, like, hey, listen, what can I do in this?
They're not lawyers.
No,
they're not.
She's like, well, we can give you a name of a lawyer.
Yes, that's
then
not.
what the hell am I paying for?
All right.
What's the? Tell me.
Gun Owners Action League
Yes.
is. I don't want to say a political organization because they're not political. But they fight for you at the State House.
So they're lobbying.
They're lobbyists.
They're lobbying
at the State House. That's what you're paying for.
Oh.
You're paying for the same thing that you're paying the NRA for. So the NRA would do it for you on a federal level,
and Gold does
it for you on a state level.
Listen, you know what?
I get you.
And your frustration with the NRA, I expressed my frustration with Goal. Same idea. Like I called you once, man. Like I asked you. I don't call you. I always send in like I pay my membership fee, right? I don't want anything from you. The one time that I call you,
that's it.
Right?
And listen, I have no affiliation to Goal. I am a member, but besides that, I have no affiliation with them. Goal is an educational.
Yep.
They do a lot of education in the state.
Yep. So you think, in your personal opinion, you think it's a good organization?
Absolutely.
I don't want to give them a bad rap because of my own personal experience.
Gun Owners Action League
you have much more experience with this than I do.
They're an awesome organization within the state.
Yeah.
They've done stuff.
Yeah.
Like they've tried to do stuff and not accomplished it.
Yeah.
Because we live here.
Right.
Okay?
I mean, you can't sometimes it's the David and Goliath situation. Right. You just can't.
We're the state that Elizabeth Warren came.
Oh my goodness.
If I need to say anything more than that, then you don't know Massachusetts, right?
Right.
So, but they've changed stuff. Listen, pepper spray. Thank Goal for that.
Yeah, right. That was. Again, if anybody who doesn't know, you don't live in Massachusetts, pepper spray was actually treated as if like a firearm.
You needed to get a license to carry.
Not anymore. Like anybody can carry now. If you're a woman, you can have it in your pocketbook. You can have it. And
correct. 18. You have to be 18. You can have it.
Nobody's dying from mace, right? Nobody. No. So why the fuck would they ever? Like again, there's another situation.
Well, that's Goal, right? So then we
right.
used to have. Then we used to have the FID card for pepper spray. We used to have an FID card for just rifles and shotguns, and then we used to have a Class B license that I've never even seen in my life, but it was there, and it was a low capacity license to carry that you couldn't carry with.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we had the Class A. They got rid of all that, so now we have a Class A, and we have an FID card.
Yep.
That's it. Simple.
Right. So FID card. If anybody 16 years old, I'm a minor hunting. You could write federal identification card, and you could buy.
Well,
like
15 with parents. With parents' permission.
And what is it like? I can buy like a 30-30. Like I can buy like a rifle.
You could buy a rifle or a shotgun, low capacity. So it'd be 10 rounds or less on a rifle, 5 rounds or less on a shotgun.
So my license is high capacity. I still can't get a magazine more than right.
So if you have, you can carry high capacity if you have it
Pre-ban.
Okay.
I love it, man. I just the way right,
but you can't buy it, so you can't physically buy it.
Like you go cross-eyed with this shit, man. Like they make it impossible.
You don't know that,
right? I mean, and again, like somebody like yourself who's so like just astute with these laws and these rules. But somebody like me, man, the layman, I'm like just it almost gets to a point where you say to yourself, like I'm afraid of it.
You want
right? Like is that the plan?
You want to go cross-eyed? I know you're not a big fan of Goal, but Goal offers a class, and once in a while they do it down in New Bedford or whatever. They offer a class called Mass Gun Laws for Citizens or something. Take that class. Ooh. Do you want to go cross-eyed?
Really?
John Green is he's the educational guy at Goal.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Wicked smart guy.
Right.
Talent's wasted.
And this is like on the law. This is like the legal law. He
is going to go over every mass gun law there is.
I don't even know how that's possible.
What you can and can't do.
It's
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And that's and again, and that really, I got to be honest with you. I mean, just so you know, we're 2 hours into the podcast.
Yeah,
I have to admit, like out of everybody at this podcast that I probably mentioned your name.
Do you have a time limit?
No, I really don't.
All right.
No, because people can listen as long as they want. They can pause and rewind and come back. But I probably mentioned your name most often on the show, and it's always.
I look forward to it.
Well, good. I hope so. But but in all reality of it comes up so often, Steve, because I always have these questions about. Yeah. Again, I only bring it up because I feel, and maybe I sound corny when I say this. When I was awarded when I got my license, my Second Amendment, when I was able to do it, it's gonna sound corny, bro. I felt good, man. Like when I had it in my hand, I'm like, this is really like I can exercise this right. Like not everybody can do that. I mean, we're all Americans, right? We're all born with the Constitution that governs. But I had a legal license to do something.
Wait, now stop and think about what you just said.
Isn't
that fucked up?
Right. Right. That's that to me, like again, cross-eyed, like struggle
for the people that don't understand what I just said.
Yep.
Imagine having to get a license in order to say what you want to say.
Imagine.
All right, to exercise your freedom of speech.
Right.
Your right to freedom of speech.
The God-given right.
Right. It wasn't. Everybody talks about the Constitution and this and that. That the Constitution guaranteed your rights that you already had. Okay. It didn't give you those rights. You already had them.
Right.
So now imagine this is how gun owners feel. Like if I can try and make anybody understand what we're trying to say is, imagine having to get a license in order to say what you want to say.
Imagine, seriously.
Because that's what we have to do in order to exercise our right to be able to protect ourselves and our families. Right. That's what it comes down to, and people don't understand that.
And again, and not to repeat what we already know, but the only people you're restricting are the law-abiding,
absolutely,
right, psychologically sound individuals who follow the law. Yeah. The letter of the law are the ones that you're restricting. The criminals, the ones that are actually causing the harm, don't care what the laws and the rules are.
I've spent. I don't want my wife to hear this. I've spent a lot of time in gun shops.
Yep.
Maybe a little too much. And I've never seen a criminal walk in and buy a gun.
Right, me neither, man. Like you never, right? Seriously,
never.
It's always
because when I walk in and I go, "Ooh, that's a nice gun."
Yeah.
Can I see that? The first question they say to me is, "Can I see your license?"
Right. And then if you want to buy it, you can't even buy it with just your license because you need your license and you need your PIN number.
Correct. Your state issued
Your
PIN
state
number.
issued PIN number.
Like a prisoner.
I cannot buy a gun. Again, if anybody doesn't know, you would think with my license, my Class A large capacity, which is in the state of Massachusetts, that's the highest, right? With the side of machine, like having an automatic.
Besides a green card.
Besides a green card, that's the big, right?
Yep.
So with that, I still need my, what is it, 7-digit? Four digit
PIN number. Yeah.
4-digit. I think mine was more than that, bro.
Maybe it is more than that.
I think it's more.
It is more than that. 6.
I think it's 6 digits. Yeah, because I
tell you
think
right now it's in my phone.
I got mine because I keep it in my wallet. Like I think I have. I shouldn't.
Yeah, I
probably,
know it is. It's more. It's 6.
Yeah, I think it's 6 digits.
5 or 6 digits.
I need to have that. So again, talking about gun safety and gun laws.
Yeah.
Like how? I mean, there's so many already in place.
You want to hear something fucked up? Try California.
I can't even imagine.
Hey, I don't know if they passed it yet or if they're just talking about passing it, where you actually you're going to have to get a license to buy ammo every time you want to buy ammo. You're going to have to ask the state for permission to buy ammo for the guns that you legally own.
That's amazing. It's just, and again, and they say California being the regulation state, right? Even the idea of making a vehicle for sale in the state of California is almost impossible. And
Have you looked on Amazon lately? Like every product,
right? It says right.
What is that to have like about? A California warning.
I will tell you, in my job, I order a lot of stuff from Granger.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff, everything I order from Granger, it's got that little triangle with the California. Everything. What is that all about? What is that all about?
Something or lead or
right?
Like, are you
so China can send us toys with lead loaded in lead, but you can't go to California and right like that's the.
Dude, I don't know what the hell that's all about. But every product I've bought in the last year,
somebody's getting rich. Somebody's getting rich. Somebody's getting rich off that.
It's the same
thing.
state where people are shitting on the streets.
Shitting on the streets.
I think they have better things to be doing than to be regulating law-abiding citizens.
Talking about, listen, I want to shift a little bit. I know we've been talking about guns for a long time, and I know we're 2 hours and 50 minutes in, and I want to talk about this a little bit because I want your opinion on it. So tonight, Conor McGregor is fighting MMA. Did you know this?
Yes.
I don't know. Are you into MMA?
I'm not big. I'm not really big.
Me neither. I'm not like
these big fights, whatever. Yeah, but
I do have. If you guys are out there, take a listen. Twitter. Our Combat, which is the word hour, like the time, HOUR Combat. Go give them a follow. These guys are fantastic. They're always talking about the MMA, and they're talking about this Conor McGregor fight, and he's fighting this guy, Cowboy, tonight. Both weighed in at 170 pounds. I don't know if did you catch the weigh-in?
No.
McGregor looks good, man. He really does.
Yeah, but he's like 2 feet shorter than the other dude.
He is 2 feet shorter, but... Check this out.
And in MMA, that makes a difference.
It does make a difference, reach and height.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: McGregor guaranteed for this fight $3 million, no matter what, win or lose.
Knockout, whatever.
It doesn't matter. Wow. He gets $3 million, even if he gets his ass handed to him. He gets $3 million. Cowboy, on the other hand, he is guaranteed. Is it Donald Cerrone? I think his name is. He is guaranteed $200,000, and if he wins, $400,000. Figure that out, bro. Right?
I don't get what. Why would he sign to that?
You know what? I think a couple of things here. One, in case you didn't know, he's 36 years old. So
he's a little on that.
I think, you know what, Dana, I think the whole idea with UFC, I think they're bringing McGregor back in, and I think this is kind of like a segue. Eventually, this is to fight Jorge. Like, he's going to fight.
Yeah.
Like, this is all a build-up to that, and I don't think you could just put him in the ring with Jorge right now. I think he would get his ass handed to him. So I think bringing him in like this guy, Cowboy, this is probably like one of his, he's an American, probably one of his last fights. He's going to probably get beat by McGregor. I didn't
realize he was that old. So.
Yeah, and I think that in itself, like, because even, and you know what, and I thought McGregor was much older. He's 31 years old, bro.
Yeah, he's not.
He's only 31, and Jorge he's 35 years old. Imagine that. Like, I didn't think he was that old, but McGregor being that young, obviously, like, he's a smaller guy.
Yeah.
But he came in. They both
quick
came in,
though.
170 pounds.
He is quick though,
and he's a fucking maniac.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean? So you know what, like, not to just kind of root for the McGregor thing, but I kind of hope, because I'd like to see him fight again. I like, and you'll have to forgive me for saying this out loud. Colin Kaepernick. Bro, you know what? And now we know what he is. We know what he is now. But before we knew what he was,
we knew what he was a long time ago.
But you know what? When he was in San Francisco there for those beginning couple, he was interesting, man. It was
what the fuck happened to him?
I know what.
Forget
Yoko.
Hey,
the Yoko Ono effect,
dude.
It was that girlfriend.
God,
he ended up getting that girlfriend.
Fuck.
She was like an activist, like maniac, right? Like this.
No. Like I'm not. That's not even like. Dude, put the kneeling aside.
Okay.
Put the stupid cop hating bullshit aside. Put all that aside.
What happened?
He was a decent quarterback. Like I remember watching him and going,
right, kissing biceps. Like
wow.
he was.
Like this dude is all right. Like he might actually be all right.
Franchise, right?
And then all of a sudden,
power of the pussy.
What the fuck? He can't throw a ball.
I'm telling you right now, power of the pussy. That's what happened to him. He met that girl. If you go look in history, it was right after her name escapes me, but she was like a social.
Not important.
She was like a socialista. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. She's hot. I mean, she's like really good looking and pretty and all that. And but as soon as he got with her and the whole social injustice thing started happening, he grew out his afro. Like you know what? Listen, guys, I don't know if you know this. He's half white. So you know he right he
kind of kills your case.
He really does kill your case, bro. You're playing both sides. So you nap out your afro, so you make yourself completely black, and then you have a message and an agenda.
He's trying to make himself relevant.
That's it, man. And you know what?
Dude,
when you have companies like Nike, which pisses me off because I own a lot of Nike gear. Pisses me off when you
I won't buy it anymore.
No, I'm not buying anymore, but what I already have, I have. I mean, I got my dad sneakers. They're Nikes, man. They're comfortable. My kids call them dad sneakers. I get a pair for Christmas every year. But the bottom line is, you got companies like that back people with those kind of ideas. Again, you don't know the situation. And how disrespectful is that to the law and not just the law, but just everyone, because it's everybody. We should all be offended by that. And again, Steve, I know you will agree with me when you say this. You can't like everything that's going on in this country, right? At any one given day, there's got to be some things in this that you're not happy with, right? That just,
right.
But does that ever sway the way you feel about your country?
No.
Does that sway the way you feel about the flag and the fact that we have troops and people that are dying for the fact that you and I can get up every day and be miserable, like, right?
Yeah.
But in all fairness, so when you take a knee like that, man, I get it, bro. You know what?
Listen, you want to fight. Listen, here's the thing.
What's the fight?
Here's my thing. He's got a lot of fights, right? Whatever. Listen, you want to fight whatever the environment. You want to fight you police brutality. You think there's a police brutality issue? Okay, listen. Does it happen? Absolutely.
Yes.
You want to fight it?
Fine.
Hey, I'm down with that.
Yep.
Why are you kneeling for the American flag?
That's the thing. Why?
Dude, that's your flag.
But again, I think you lose, and this is the point. I think you lose sight of what the flag represents, and you get so caught up in your own agenda that now the news and the media is paying attention to that.
Well, because here's the thing. Like, you could have had people on your side. You said, all right, listen.
Yes.
There's police brutality. Even, whatever.
Right.
White on black. Okay.
That's, fine.
There's a problem.
Fine.
Dude, you might get me on board.
You have influence.
Show it to me.
Show it to me. Show it to me. Absolutely. Right.
But you lost me.
Yeah, when you do it.
When you do stupid shit like kneeling for the flag.
Funny? He had that practice recently, right? He had that practice in Atlanta, like the dog and pony show where we had everybody show up.
The one that didn't exist?
Right.
That he moved,
and then, like all of that.
And then was upset. And the best part of that story, the wide receiver he used got signed.
Washington Redskins. Wasn't that great? The Washington Redskins. Yeah, that was fantastic.
I love it.
But, even in doing that, right, you would think that he was given another opportunity and that teams, and like everybody sent somebody just so that they wouldn't say you didn't send somebody, right? Because it would have been, right, it would have been, if you didn't show up, then you would have been racist. So you're given this opportunity again. I honestly, between you and I, Steve, I thought like something shifted for him. I honestly thought like, you know what, maybe somebody got to him and said, listen, you got a very short window here where you can still play in the NFL and compete and be successful. Maybe you kind of put this fight aside, and you do you, and you play the sport, and because you could be captivating, make your money, right?
Absolutely.
Like do what you got, and then later on, bro, write a book. You know what I mean? But when I thought he was going to get picked up, I thought somebody was going to pick him up because there is a desperate need for quarterbacks. And I said to myself, I said, gee, and I was talking to AJ, and I said, hey, listen, I said, how funny it's going to be when Colin Kaepernick's playing for, let's say Cleveland, right? Like, I mean, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
And I said, what are they going to do? Not record him when he comes on the field? And my son says, no, they just won't have him come on the field. And it never even dawned on me that right? Like, it's that simple. So what do? You just keep him in the locker room after the national anthem, then you send him out there. Yeah. Like, nobody has to know, right? Like,
absolutely.
so.
Well, they did that. They did that with Pittsburgh for a while. Remember when the whole team wanted to kneel and shit?
Right.
But
I didn't even think that that's something that could have been an option for him to do, or the team that picked him up to do. But nobody even, like, right there at that interview when he went on that rant. Well, because
right at the last moment.
I am ready. We are ready. Right?
Yeah,
right.
At the last minute, he pulls some stupid, childish.
Yeah, again.
I don't know. I don't want it there. I want it here. Like, really? You have this NFL facility.
They said he wanted to control the media narrative. That's what it was.
And that's what he wanted to do. And look, he did. And now he doesn't have a job.
That was terrible.
So,
and what a huge waste of time for everybody. Again, just another reason to be in the news. And again, do you know how
many people flew down there?
I know, right?
And killed the environment.
Right. Imagine that.
Dude, they killed the fucking environment.
Yeah, they killed.
Fly down there for nothing.
Yeah. There's some bird.
Greta.
There's some bird. Yeah.
Greta is pissed.
Yes.
How dare you?
There was a turtle or a frog or something that is no longer in existence because of all the flying that took place. I tell you, man, like full circle. Yeah. Steve, first of all, let me say that you have a radio voice. I mean, I know you said you might, but you do. You have a very soothing voice. I'm actually enjoying myself. I'm sure the fans are going to enjoy this, immensely. I mean, we are 2 hours and 25 minutes into this podcast, and I know you and we could
I'm just warming up.
Right? We could like keep going on here, but we do have to come to a close at some point. But I do want to mention a couple of things that I don't want to lose sight on. One, always the Shriners Children's Hospital. I'm a huge advocate for them, and I always like to mention them in the podcast. Always a shout out to my brother Lou, because it wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't mention brother Lou, who is probably aside from you, sir, my biggest fan. But at some point we gotta come to an end. But I know we talked a little bit about Etsy, and I just want to mention it again. If you got the shirt, man. Like, what did you think? I mean, quality shirt.
Where is it though?
Well, that's all right.
He promised he was going to wear it, and then he went home after work, threw on.
I got mine on. I got mine on.
Didn't even think about it.
That's all right, man.
Hey, halfway here, I went. Oh,
listen,
shit.
In all fairness, in the audience, just so you know, Steve worked today. You worked a full shift, brother.
Yeah, I worked a 10-hour day today.
And you still made it here today. It's snowing out. It's miserable. You still kept your word. You were here. You were here when you said you were going to be here to be a part of the podcast, and I am truly grateful for that. And you know what? I think
awesome being here,
bro. And I was talking to
I've been
Rachel.
looking forward to this, just so you know.
Yes.
And you can tell Rachel.
Yep.
That I hope she wasn't talking about me, because I always said I will be here when I get the call. Yes. I will show up.
Do you know what? Can I be honest? And I'm going to be honest with you. The reason I waited a little bit was I honestly wanted to have something for you to be a part of. Like when I started the podcast, you obviously, I mean, I know I mention this all the time. It's like it's a dream, and I'm here, and you guys all know the story. But to actually have something, create it, and now that it actually has traction, Steve, like there are people listening. I would never want to waste a podcast with you here.
Yeah,
with
but
nobody
just talking
listening
is always fun.
Yeah, man. And now, but knowing that there's an audience, there are people that are listening.
No, I get it.
And the idea that this is only gonna increase listening. I mean, this is the content that I knew that once we sat down and had a conversation, like there's just so much commonality.
Dude, did we even talk about guns?
A little bit. I think we might have, right?
I think we were more political than anything else.
I think we did, but I mean, there was some gun talk in there, and you know what? And I'll always kind of give like a little heads up of what we think we're gonna do. But at the end of the day, brother, like and none of it because
I'm looking over there.
Yeah, a lot of it, like all the stuff that happened in 1976. You know what? Quite honestly, at this point, it really doesn't matter because there was so much substance in what we talked about here. I'm hoping that we walk away from this today, brother, and we just say, listen, when's the next time you're coming back? And again, these topics are just open-ended because I think you and I again, very like-minded, but yet I think we have different views on certain things, and we look at things differently.
I think me and you definitely have different views on universal health care.
Yeah, I think definitely. You know what? And I think that's a great segue for. We talk about the next podcast, and we talk about healthcare and where that is, because again, I think that'd be a great topic for both of us to get into. I think there's maybe a difference of opinion.
Have you ever experienced it?
I have not. I have not. But I do have family that lives on the northern border, and from what I've heard from them, maybe because where they're at, I mean, they're right in Toronto, Mississauga. Yeah. They're right in the middle of, maybe because that's where they're at.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Again,
I've never personally experienced it myself.
Right.
But like, I have family in Portugal.
Yep.
Right. So socialist Portugal,
yep.
where
Yep.
everything's free.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like Bernie wants. And
but I get the cost. I get the cost in that. And you know,
it's not even the cost.
Yep.
It's because it is the cost, but it's not the cost.
Right.
It's I've literally known people that have died.
Yep.
Waiting for surgery.
Waiting for healthcare. Yeah.
So it's a very slippery slope.
So with that said, brother, I think that we talk about that on the next one, brother. I think we make this like, I mean, again, now that you're a co-host on the show, like we'll continue to do this. We'll bring you back in
whenever you're ready.
Yeah, man. We'll keep the flow going. I mean, this.
I don't want to hog everything though. You know what I mean?
Man,
we need to bring in some more people, but
I think so. But I think
whenever
the regularity.
You're ready, I'd be more than happy to come back.
Listen, can I tell you? And I was going to say when I was talking to Rachel about it. It's very humbling for me, the idea that you'd want to be a part of the podcast, because if I look at this from the outside looking in, I say to myself, gee, if Steve wants to be a part of the podcast, then you must think highly of the podcast.
I do.
Because if you didn't, like, what the hell would you want to be on a podcast,
yeah.
right?
You know what's funny is sometimes like it'll come out Sunday night or Monday morning or whatever, right?
Yep.
And I won't listen to it because it'll be Monday morning, my day off.
Yep.
You would think that I could I don't want to listen to it in pieces. I want to listen to it.
My brother does the same thing.
Like, I want to sit.
And he wanted
if I'm driving or something, like I literally want to hear the whole thing one sitting. I don't want to break it up, because then with my memory, I forget where we left off. I just want to listen to the whole thing.
And
sometimes it's like Tuesday, Wednesday before I can actually listen to it.
Yeah.
But I look forward to it.
And it's funny
because
I kind of look for you. You know, there are a couple of people that I mentioned, like I said, and you're one of those people. And I kind of look for those comments from you, because I always appreciate the honesty. Because, guys, this doesn't get any better. Like, if everybody keeps saying, "Hey, great, it's fantastic," like, okay, well, how does it get better? Like, how do I make the podcast look? How does Joe Rogan get 400,000 listens a day? Like, what is he doing? Right? I'm going to be honest with you guys. Other than the topics and having, like, I don't know, like famous people come into his studio, what's he doing differently or better than I am? Like, right?
Well, a lot, I'm going to be honest with you. For a lot of them, he's their pot guru, and he's put. Listen, dude,
but
he's pushing that, and a lot of them are listening for that reason.
But even that, like, the idea of like 400,000 people listening to his podcast, right? Yeah. And I say to and I listen to him, and I say to myself, all right, I'm going to listen to Joe Rogan, because you know what? It's almost like if you're watching somebody paint a painting, right? I want to watch your technique. Like, all right, how is he doing the shading? How is he? Yeah. So I'm listening to Joe Rogan going, gee, what's he doing?
You know what's funny is I can't listen to Joe Rogan. I have to watch it.
Right? Me too. That's funny you say that, because I watch him on YouTube. I put him on YouTube.
Half the shit that he's talking about, they'll throw it up on the screen.
Yes.
Or,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or even just his mannerisms and the way he reacts.
I think he do that on purpose. To draw like the audience to like the YouTube channel, because you already have.
That's what Ben Shapiro kind of pisses me off.
Because
he does the same thing. I listen to him,
and
he does the same thing, because he'll bring stuff up, he'll play clips, and you can't see it.
Yep.
And then he'll only do like an hour,
right?
And then he's like, "Well, if you want the rest, you can
go
subscribe." And I'm like,
and that's where. So. And you know what? And even that, like I'm going 2 hours and 30 minutes in. I mentioned sponsorship.
I don't have a curfew.
That's cool, man. No, me neither. Just you're gonna have people like falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
I was talking about like sponsorships for the show. Like, I mean, I think if the show's gonna grow and we're gonna get into that point where, you know what, bro, maybe I'd like to do this like more than once a week. You know what I mean? But I only do it once a week now because I think, you know, I want to have the substance. But I mean, obviously, like you and I, if we would do this 3 days a week, bro, we would have content. Like, you know what, most podcasts,
way shit's going down lately. Yeah.
Most podcasts are like an hour. Like, I typically do a 2-hour show because it's 7 days. You know what I mean? So I figure a 2-hour show is good for. But if you're doing this more often, like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and you have a sponsor, I mean, then it becomes your job, right? Like, that's well, how cool is that, man? To be able to sit here like Joe Rogan, for example, and have great people come in, great guests, and deliver a product that now, again, you have a consistent audience. But again, it's finding that right sponsorship. And I said it from day one, and I'll say it. I will not ever do a commercial on here. I will do a read, like I mentioned John Tassonis and Yaya's on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Right, man? Right?
Jesus. I haven't been there in a while either. And
Once
that's my
a week,
fault.
go Greek. Like that's
Yaya's.
right. So even in that, like I mentioned and I talk about it, that's how I'd like to do a sponsorship. I don't want to we'll be right back. I don't want to do that. It would be like, hey, listen, go eat at Johnny's restaurant. You know what I mean?
Do you listen to Graham Allen at all?
No, I did not.
You should try that.
Yeah, I will.
Dear America podcast.
Dear America podcast.
I'm not trying to steer anybody away from
No,
yours.
right, yeah, but this is great stuff.
He's a vet, and dude, he calls people out. I love it.
Good.
Well, the reason I even brought that up is because that's kind of what he does. Like he has We the People holsters sponsoring him and all these other things.
Yeah, like cool stuff like that.
And he
that
just reads. He
just reads it like it's part of the show. So I mean, like I said, so I only mention it, throw it out there. Anybody who's listening and anybody who's interested in doing like a sponsorship and being a part of the show on the Bobby Couto Show, if you enjoy what you're hearing, you enjoy what you're listening to. I mean, having Steve on the show today is just testament to where the show is going. I think. The idea that I could have somebody of your caliber, your knowledge.
You
listen,
keep saying that,
man.
people that actually know me are laughing at you right now.
Well, they shouldn't laugh because you know what? Somebody like myself, I appreciate what I know about you, Steve, and the value that you bring to my life. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you.
I always appreciate. You know what? I can appreciate the craftsman. I can appreciate the educator. You know what I mean? And in someone like yourself, and I have friends and other friends, and I know people that listen that are very passionate about certain things. And even though you're passionate about it, it doesn't mean you're very good at it or know.
Yeah.
You, my friend, not only are you passionate and responsible, but you're very knowledgeable about what you talk about. People can talk shit, people can say what they want to say, but you have the knowledge and you've done the research and you've educated yourself in a manner that you're able to teach people the right way to go about handling probably one of the most controversial and, you know what, in all fairness, dangerous mechanisms on the planet.
Oh, absolutely.
A gun in the wrong hand, right?
Dangerous, definitely, if you're not... Listen, it's like anything else, right? I mean, if you start throwing hammers at people...
Right?
They're dangerous.
They're dangerous.
But if you know how to use a hammer properly...
Then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Then you're good to go. So again, and to give you credit again, just one more time, if you don't mind, just throw your Instagram. What's the best way? Like if I was going to, like I mentioned it earlier, if I was going to book a course with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So the best way to get in touch with me is South Coast Firearm Safety on Facebook.
Okay.
Or...
is there an email in there?
There is. It's funny, but it's Magoo1025 at yahoo.com. So MAGOO 1025 at yahoo.com.
Okay. And typically, if I wanted to book a class with you, how much time do I need? Like typically a week, 2 weeks?
Couple weeks. Just so I can set a date and get it, you know what I mean? To get it set up because I have a full-time job just like you, right?
Yep,
so,
yep.
I have certain days off, so I try and work around people's schedules and I'll do Sundays, whatever. Like we can work it out. That's the best way.
Right. So just again, that's the way to get a hold of you.
Yep.
The Magoo email.
Magoo1025 at yahoo.com.
And then, of course,
South Coast Firearm Safety on Facebook.
And then Instagram.
And then Instagram is SCFS_Steve.
And then, of course, if I was to book it, how many people? What would be a good number for people if I was going to?
Listen, I'll do classes for one people.
Yep.
For one people.
Okay?
One person. You just got to come to me.
All right.
And I'm in New Bedford. If you want, a class, 5 or more, I'll come to you.
Yep.
Now, I mean, I know you got listeners in Australia and stuff.
I do, man.
I'm not going to Australia.
It rained in Australia.
I would love to go, but I can't afford it. And doing a class down there is not worth it to me.
Right. Well, unless it's all expensive.
Listen, if you want to pay,
right. Come on down, right?
I'll go.
It rained in Australia, brother.
Thank God.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Amazing. I actually posted it on my Twitter account. On the Bobby Couto Show.
You love that Twitter, don't you?
I do, man. Yeah.
Dude, I can't. I try, man. I can't. There's just too much.
I can't survive without it. I never used it. I'm an Instagram guy. You know what I mean? I like Instagram.
That's my thing, man.
I'm new to Facebook. I never had Facebook before. I'm trying to figure that out. I mean, I'm a mess with that. And then Twitter, brother, I got to tell you, I don't think the show would have the success it has without.
How, dude? How can you navigate all of that brother, at once, dude?
I realize how bad my eyes are because when I'm trying to scroll through that and I'm trying to. And it's just, it takes, you know what? One of those posts, I don't think people appreciate it. Like it takes me like 45 minutes an hour to put a post together because you got with Twitter, unlike Instagram. Like if you post to Instagram, if you make a typo, you can go in there and hit edit and fix it. In Twitter, you can't.
No.
Once you post it,
you have to delete it and then redo it.
Yeah. So you go to all this trouble. I make the memes. I do like the GIFs. I do the whole thing, and then put it out there. And then I look, and then the word "this" is "the," and you're like, "What the?" You know what I mean? I got to do it all over. So again,
Twitter's just too much for me.
It is.
I can't there's just
there is a lot.
You follow people.
It's
right?
the opposite. It's the opposite. Instagram, you scroll down. On Twitter, you go opposite.
But even that, dude, like just to read everybody's post. By the time I get to the not even scrolling, just to the bottom of the page, it's already telling me I got new posts.
Yeah, there's
man.
new posts.
And it's like
it's so tough.
I can't keep up.
You got to, you know what, man? For me, like I just scroll and I pick and choose, and there are some selected few, like anything else, that get my attention. But outside of that, I'm just kind of using it as a catalyst for the show.
No, it's just I keep trying, man.
Brother, you can't. I'm telling you, you can't survive. When I did the research for the show, when I finally decided I was going to do a podcast, and all the research that I did, bottom line, you cannot survive in this market without a Facebook and a Twitter and Instagram. Like you absolutely. Otherwise, nobody knows you exist because the pool of
Twitter is Twitter is the thing.
Look at the president.
But dude,
right? Like everything in his grandma.
He's the reason I can't keep up.
Right. Like I mean, the guy is not. And I give him credit. He's older than me. Yeah. And he's much better at that than I am.
You think he's really doing it?
That's what I wonder, bro. That's a good question.
Like I think at one point
he might have. Him. I think now he's going. Hey, listen, blah, 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 and somebody's typing that out with the proper grammar, and they're making sure he's spelling things right because every single word, period, like they dissect that to
a public service announcement. Yeah, punctuation makes a difference.
It does.
Huge.
It does.
Commas are very, very important.
Right, man? Like you need to have them, and even that, like I'm Portuguese. And Siri doesn't like me because I'm from Boston. Yeah. So automatically, I know I have a very strong accent, and already that doesn't help me.
Yeah.
So and like even now, I type how I write. Like if you're reading something on Twitter, it's the way I'm saying it. So it may not always be like exactly correct, but if you're reading it and it's punctuational, you know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like I think you need to have some personality.
Yeah, but you got people that are just
it's
trying to find that.
Yeah, they're looking for it. They're looking for it. And I will say something. I'm glad you mentioned that. In episode 22, I dedicated the episode to Neil Peart from Rush. He passed away. Amazing drummer. And I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, and I kind of got a little. Let me apologize to everyone if you listen and if you're a Rush fan. I mentioned that he was born in 1967. The truth of the matter is he was not. He was born in 51. He was 67 years old when he passed. So I just wanted to kind of put that correction in there. Autocorrect on episode 22 that I apologize. No disrespect to him or his family, but he died at the age of 67. So, I mean,
he was young still, huh?
He was still young, man. Wow. But there was a lot of tragedy in his life. I know his wife I think his wife passed from cancer, and his children, I think, had some battle with cancer. 3.5 years, he ended up dying from brain cancer. That's what ended up taking him out. Wow. But I mean, you don't have to know anything about music. If you listen,
you hear a Rush song, everybody knows it.
Unbelievable talent, and it's just a tragedy to lose somebody like that. I think like Chris Cornell. I think of the Chester Bettyfields, like these people that are just so amazing and so talented.
I was a big Linkin Park fan.
Me too, man.
Matter of fact, I was just listening to Numb on my way here, right?
Right.
Because people on the highway were making me numb.
Right.
So, and
do you drive on 24? Do you ever drive on Route 24? I don't know that you would have to.
Do you know how many times I drive by your house in a week?
I cannot drive 24, bro. I have like literally just tried to. I try to like forget it even exists. It's unbelievable.
Good luck.
It's terrible,
dude. It's the stairway to everything around here,
right?
Man.
It really is.
There's no way around it,
and it's terrible. It's the gauntlet. Like
it's the worst.
You literally
dude, they just redid it, right? So like they did this one good thing. A lot of people won't know what the hell I'm talking about, but you will.
Yep.
So you come off of 140 and you get on 24 north, right? They added that third lane so you can get speed up.
Yeah. Right.
Beautiful thing.
Right.
Dude, the asphalt's already gone.
Right. Torn up, like it's all hacked up,
dude. It's like you drive down there and you're hitting 3 potholes in a row.
You're right. You're trying to avoid being in that lane. Now the purpose of the lane is to let you like catch up, speed up to get into the lane, and now you don't even want to ride in it because it's all.
Dude, there's like literally 3 in a row.
Do you ever drive in Fall River at all? Do you make it to Fall River?
Do I,
brother?
Unfortunately, yes.
Every Sunday, if you listen to the podcast, every Sunday I go see my mom. I mention it. I drive on Eastern Avenue. somebody painted the road. Like I don't even. Again, it boggles my mind. Like the potholes, bro. Literally, like if you hit a pothole, like I got 22-inch wheels on my truck. If I hit this pothole, I'm losing a wheel. Like that's how big these are. And it's they painted in like a bicycle lane. Yeah. And all the potholes are in the bicycle lane. If you rode your bicycle in the bicycle lane, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make it. And I say to myself, like,
dude,
who? Like,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is with all the fucking bicycle lanes?
I don't know, man. Like, I guess they're trying to save the planet. Like,
dude,
if you ride a bike, then
there's not that many fucking people on bikes.
No.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Hey, and let's be honest, right? New Bedford did the same thing.
Yeah.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
Most people riding around on bicycles.
Yeah, it's because they lost the license. So
they're crackheads.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, typically.
So
typically,
we're giving them their own lane now.
Well, if you're a crackhead, I guess if you're on crack, then I guess you want to have a lane so maybe you don't drive into oncoming traffic. I don't know, brother. I do know that if you're a crackhead and you're on a bicycle in Fall River, you're going to die because the potholes. You're not going to make it, bro. Man. It is that. I'm dead serious. Like, and I even hate to. It's grotesque enough that you notice it. Like you can't help it. And you're going to notice it now.
Oh,
no. Like you go up Eastern Avenue.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It is unbelievable that somebody like listen, man. You got one job, bro. You're the tar guy for the city of public works. You got one job, brother, and you allow that to happen. Like just one job, man. Like it's not even a hard one.
It's not a side street.
It's like it's a main road, bro.
Right. It's one of the main roads.
Yes, an artery. You would call it like an artery. Yeah. Okay. And the people paying taxes, and they pay the rain tax, they pay all the taxes, but yet somehow
New Bedford's the same way.
Yeah,
dude, we just spent. I think New Bedford spent. I don't know if you've driven down Route 18 lately.
Well, I'll be honest, I almost got lost because it's all different now. I mean,
you see those bushes on the side.
A
of
little
Route 18?
history. You and I, we worked in New Bedford together, Comcast together. Like the South End, like it was the North. It was us.
That was us. Yeah.
And now I go down 18, and I'm not sure like where do I get off over
here? Do you see the bushes on the side of Route 18?
What is that?
$300,000 worth of bushes.
Where did they come from? Did they ship them in from Zimbabwe or something?
Listen,
where did they?
I couldn't tell you, but it actually looks stupid because the N goes into the B and it does.
But it's all like concrete. Like it's not even like it's pretty, right? It's all like concrete. And then you got these bushes that just out of nowhere.
So then for the people that are not familiar with the area, they took a 2-lane highway each way.
Yep.
Right. Speed limits were like 45, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And they literally just put crosswalks across like 6 different spots. So they actually put lights at those crosswalks.
Yeah.
But now you're on a highway.
Wasn't there a bridge?
There was a pedestrian
bridge. There was a pedestrian bridge.
We knocked that down. And
so
we put
you knocked down the bridge, you put walkways in and increase the speed limit. It's perfect. It's perfect. Like that's engineering at its finest right there. Amazing, bro.
What's going to happen is the first person's going to get hit. Yeah. And then they're going to tear it all up.
Yeah. You wonder, honestly, you wonder and you think to yourself, like, who's making those decisions? And you know what? Shame on me because maybe I'm the guy that should go to that town meeting. Like, maybe you should be the guy going to that town meeting.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's where they're making those decisions. Because I don't go. I don't typically go because I'm like, what am I?
Yeah.
Right?
No, that I've been to city council meetings.
Yep.
And I've sat there and
I did go to the one here. Look, if you knew, Berkeley had a major. You remember they were trying to restrict gun laws? That was in Berkeley. Berkeley was going to pass a law as far as firearms go and restricting firearms in the town of Berkeley.
Oh, like being able to shoot on your own land.
On your own land. Remember that? And because somebody had complained.
That was a while ago.
Probably like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. Somebody shot and it was somebody's backyard, like, and they were afraid, like what we talked about earlier, knowing what your boundaries are.
Yeah.
And something had taken place, and right away, Berkeley was going to try to pass some type of town legislation that you couldn't shoot a firearm in your backyard if you wanted to. So that didn't happen. A lot of people showed up. I showed up. There were 100.
Yeah, because it's Berkeley.
Because it's Berkeley. Yes,
and it's farmland. So there's still normal people here.
We have a lot of people wearing camouflage baseball caps. So that's
that makes. Listen, those are the greatest people in the world. In my opinion,
I live with them. I lived amongst them.
I'm kind of jealous.
I love it here,
dude. I'm so jealous. Yeah. Like I drove down your driveway and I went, fuck.
Bro, this was just luck. Honest to God, bro.
I remember that. Yeah. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was a very lucky situation. I mean, I love it here, bro. I hate to be morbid, but I'll die here. You're gonna drag my dead body out of this place,
dude. I'd give my left leg for your garage.
Yeah, it's pretty nice too, man. I don't know. Yeah, I do.
Like alone.
Yeah, I love it. That was one of the reasons why we bought this place.
Yeah,
it just luck, bro. I'm telling you, man. Yeah. The stars were aligned. It all worked out. I mean, otherwise,
I'm happy for you,
bro. I'd probably still be in the city if it wasn't. If this didn't happen, like a foreclosure, like it all worked out, man. I'd still be in the river. I would. I'd be in the river. You know that's so. Here I am, bro. I love it here. And dude, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here too.
You know what I mean?
We just keep talking. We're gonna be at 3 hours.
So. I know. Actually, we're 2 hours and 48 minutes. We gotta come on,
dude.
I gotta put my hammer down, like you mentioned, throwing hammers.
What are you, Pelosi?
Right? Knock, knock. Right? Oh,
you're not gonna fall off, are you?
So listen, I'll walk us out of here, but just real quick, things to look forward to next time, bro. We got a lot. Seriously, we could talk about healthcare next time. We could cut a couple of topics, but guys, I'll invite.
Talk about Virginia next time.
We could talk about Virginia. Well, you know what? Let's see how it turns out on Monday, right?
I'm dying for this.
And then we can come back and we could talk about it.
Yeah.
But just real quick to walk everybody out of here, Steve. I really appreciate you coming in, brother. I just want to. It means a lot to me that you're here. I think for me, this is a benchmark in the podcast lifeline. I think that this is only going to strengthen the show. I think this is only going to bring more listeners in. I mean, I know that your friends and family are listening, and I always mention it, and I say it. Yeah. Tell your friends, tell your family, even your enemies. I don't care who you tell. Just tell them about the show. Tell them to come and listen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point, right? Like that's what we're doing here. Like this is, again, I for me, having an outlet like this where we can have these conversations and we can talk about topics such as this. We talked about a lot of things, brother.
Yeah, we did.
And from guns to sexuality to, you pretty much name it. And I think if these conversations were taking place all over the country, I think we would all be in a better place. I think, unfortunately, people aren't having these conversations. They're not talking about these things. And I think, ultimately, at the end of the day, if you can understand, then I believe you can be compassionate. If you don't understand, then I think people just become angry. If I don't know what you're doing, what the hell are you doing? Right? Yeah. But if I know what you're doing, when you go to the doctors, if he touches you a certain way and you didn't know it was coming, right away you're like, dude, what are you doing? Right? But if he tells you, hey, listen, I'm going to do this because I want to check for this, then you're like, okay, I'm ready. Right? You know what's coming.
Brace it.
So again, that's really the reason why I do this, bro, is because I believe that we all need to keep talking. And, the gift of gab, I love to talk, man. I don't know if you can tell.
You?
And there's one, if you want to stop me, bro, tie my hands behind my back. Because then you see my hands are all over.
What the hell am I going to do?
Right? Right? I feel like Ricky Bobby. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. But, all in all, brother, I know we're having a lot of fun here today, man. I wanted to thank you personally for coming out here and sitting down and doing this. And I just hope that this is the first of many, many episodes.
I hope
for the
so,
two
too,
of us.
because this was fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is a blast. And I know that we'll be back. We'll be doing this again. And then everybody listen, if you have a second, go over, support the show. Shoot us an email, thebobbycoutoshow@gmail.com. Obviously, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I love the comments. Guys, I know I mentioned if you guys are watching and you're following Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I've mentioned Apple Podcasts. I think the only way the show grows is by metrics. You know what I mean? Everything's. Yeah. I mean, you work at Comcast, brother. You know what metrics mean.
Jesus Christ.
So in my case, same idea. Knowing who's listening, people leaving comments, people going in and rating the show. Can you believe some fucking asshole gave me a 2 rating? Somebody did that.
I might know who it is.
And that was at the beginning. You do?
I might know who it is.
Dude, who was it? Blast him.
I'm not blasting.
Blast him. I
can't blast him.
All right.
Because it's only a hunch. I don't know.
All right. I'll tell you what. How about after the podcast, we'll go off and maybe you can tell me because.
I can tell you who I think it was. Yeah. I can't tell you for sure.
Why would somebody do that? Why would, Listen. What? It's not even fair. Like, I honestly, I think I was 2 episodes in.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. Like, you know what? I challenge anybody.
Wow. Right? Funny bone.
Right? I challenge anybody to get your shit together, right?
Yeah.
Do the research and then put one of these freaking things together and then go give somebody a freaking 2 rating. Man, I'm
doing it tomorrow.
Right? I quit. It's just you put so much into this, and you know what? I would take the 2 if I thought I deserved a 2.
You know what's funny is and so you got a 2, but did they put a comment?
No comment.
Just a 2.
Just a 2. Fuckers.
See, that ain't right. If you're going to give somebody a 2,
then you tell me why, man.
You're right. Give me a fucking explanation. I want to know why.
I want to know why.
Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I can change it.
How am I supposed to get better?
Right.
Right?
That's bullshit.
But outside of that, A lot of 4s, a lot of 5s. I take the 5s. I love the 5s. So I encourage everybody, if you have a second, if you haven't done so already, go over there. You're already in there, Apple Podcast, and just rate the show. You don't even have to leave a comment. If it's a 5 or up, you don't have to leave a comment.
No, but if you're going to get a 2 or a 1
you
or
better
something,
leave me a freaking
anything
note.
below a 4, you better put a comment.
Give me a chance. Listen, I'm not even. Just give me a chance. At least give me the opportunity to fix whatever it is that. Like, you know what? I'm going to say this word, and I will say this word. My hairdresser Jen, she listens to the show. Her boyfriend Randy is a huge fan.
You just say hairdresser.
Yeah, I do. I've been hairdresser. I go to a hairdresser. I get
Just say like hairstylist or something. Make you sound a little more manly.
Yeah, I get this OCD thing, and I don't let anybody touch my head but her. But
I remember this actually. I went there with you one time. I think
there
when I
you
was
go.
on injury.
There
bro.
you go. That's right. Like, so I go see Jen, Randy, her boyfriend, great friend and amazing friend of the show. I posted a picture of him. He had gotten his T-shirt like you. He's holding it up, and he listens to the show as well. And I got to tell you, the word moist. She hates the word. When I laughed.
Does she listen?
Yeah, she listens. So
moist.
We were talking about it today, and it was funny because she didn't say anything until I said it twice. And I didn't say it. You would think, all right, you think the word and you think derogatory.
Yeah.
I was talking about cupcakes.
Yeah.
Well, how do you describe a delicious cupcake? What's one of the
moist? You know what's funny, dude? A lot of women hate that word.
Why?
Because everybody automatically it goes there.
I don't know. Like, I think cupcake.
Right. I'm thinking bunt cakes, right?
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
No.
Delicious, right?
No.
Right?
Hey, it automatically goes there. That's why.
That's funny because, I only said it once. You said it like 3 times, so she's going to be coming after you.
Yeah, it's all right.
But my point of even saying that is
I need a haircut anyway.
Right? How funny, right? Because even that, imagine if I use that word like consistently, that might be enough to turn somebody away from the show.
Absolutely.
Right? So like just thinking about like
but honestly, the more you say moist, the more stars I'm going to give you.
I can't do it because she'll kill me. I won't even do it.
Dude, she'll make you bald.
That is so funny. I'm going to send this to her and she's going to die hysterically. She'll be mad at me, but she'll die hysterically laughing knowing that I outsed her on
That's
this.
awesome.
Yeah,
See, that's the kind of stuff I love.
Yeah. Just funny stuff like
Just
that.
funny shit.
But again, knowing, the only reason I bring it up is, so sensitive, man, on either end of this.
Dude, we're a bunch of pussies.
Yeah.
We are turning our children into a bunch of pussies, man.
Yeah.
And you know what the funny thing is? It's I don't even sometimes. You know what? You're gonna get me started again. I'm just gonna shut up.
I know we have to because
I'm
we'll
just
save
gonna
it for
shut
the
up.
next one. Because I've mentioned it before in the past, and you know what? If you and I want, bro, we can go through 20 episodes and literally talk about these topics and have your opinion
Dude,
on them.
you want
because
you
they're
want to hear
all
something funny?
Yeah.
I have Evernote.
Yep. Yeah. And
I have a list of shit that you've said on this podcast.
Yeah.
That I'm like, motherfucker, I'm gonna say something to him about this.
You know what? And I love it. And
dude,
there
the
it is.
list is there.
I love
bro.
it. I love it. So we'll hit that list. You know what you should do? You should actually post that list, and then we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll get you back in here sooner than later, brother, and we'll let's talk about the list. I mean, again, the one thing I'm telling you is, or I told you before we started recording today.
Yeah,
you can say it, but if you say it,
you gotta own it. Bro.
You gotta own it,
hey,
brother.
Listen,
yep.
That's how you gotta live your life.
Right, and that's what that is.
There was one thing I wanted to say. That's on the
go
top
for it. Say it. No regrets, bro. No regrets.
We have to eat the babies.
We do have to eat the babies, right? Because
we have to. Guy,
that was the greatest ever.
That was the top of my list.
Right.
I just want you to know. I'm gonna post that list. That's the top of my list.
Imagine.
Because Guy, when I watch that video, right, we're gonna get started again.
Guy, it literally,
is ridiculous.
It's like watching.
And the fact.
Thank you.
That she said nothing and just continued on with her speech.
No, bro, she said thank you. She said thank you. It wasn't nothing. I would have accepted nothing. She actually said,
dude, like nothing happened.
She said thank you. The crazy bitch said thank you. That's another 3-hour podcast, brother. We can get into that, and I'm hoping that we can segue and say, you know what, we're gonna hit this on the next one. But we gotta.
Stop talking then.
I will stop talking.
Because dude, you're gonna get me going again.
I know. But Steve, again, just real quick. Yes, one more time. Thank you very much for coming out here, brother.
It was my honor to be
here. I only hope that we can do this again sooner than later. The addition
waiting on you,
and we'll do it, bro. You know what? Let me work it. I'll put another show together, but obviously, like we didn't even touch
that.
We didn't even touch that. So you know what? I got another podcast just sitting here waiting for us for the next one. So let's you know what? Let's talk about it sooner than later. But you know what, everybody? Look, I just want to thank everyone for Listen, guys, we are 2 hours, I should say, and 58 minutes into this podcast. So thank you to everyone for your.
You're gonna break that 3 hour mark.
I'm gonna. You know what? Why don't we try to do it? I mean, I've only done.
Dude, by the time you're done, you're gonna be way over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I want to thank everybody for their commitment on this one. 3 hours. But I got to tell you, my brother tells me all the time. He goes, Bob, I can't believe how quick the time goes by. Yeah. He goes, because my brother he does commercial cleaning, so for him it's kind of like you. He'll put his phone up, he'll press play, and he'll let it play the duration of the podcast. And he goes, I can't believe how quick it goes by. And and I feel the same way because typically I'll listen to the podcast. Like we'll record this tonight, I'll edit, I'll do the intro, outro. And I'll listen to the podcast in its entirety before I post it. Like I won't go to bed till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I will make sure.
Damn, that's commitment, right
man.
there. Like you can't even wait till tomorrow morning to do this.
I cannot. I look forward to this so much. Like I cannot wait to do this. The idea that we've created this. Like I feel like we just gave birth to a baby. You and I just made a baby.
Hey, easy.
I'm telling you,
Slow down,
bro. We just made a baby. We did. Like that's
I don't care what you heard on the news. Men cannot have babies.
Well, you know what? In this case, brother, we birthed the podcast together. We did, and I think it was an absolute amazing, beautiful podcast. And I would imagine if this doesn't get Xfinity and Beyond, I mentioned it to you earlier. Yeah. It's so far, it's the highest grossing podcast, like the most listened.
Because people were anticipating answers that we still have not
gone to. But I think that's a great thing because I think this right here, people know what this relationship is.
Yeah.
And I think, we can get into some of those topics. And like I told you before, brother, I'm an open book. Whatever, I got nothing to hide. So whatever you got, whatever you want to throw my way, I am an open book. And I will invite anyone on that end. Again, I'm not either side. I'm Bobby Couto and the Bobby Couto Show. So whatever questions you have, and I invite both pro, anti, whatever you are, pro union, anti, whatever, hit me up. Like, send me. I will answer. I have nothing to hide. Like I am in such a beautiful place in my life, brother.
You're gonna get me in trouble, boy,
brother. So we can get there. We can talk about it, but we'll get those answers to a lot of those questions that people are asking. But I think I'm going to go on the record right now and say I believe that this podcast will be just as popular, if not more popular than that one. Once people start listening, the word gets out.
I hope so.
How great this is and the chemistry that we have here, brother.
I don't know. I'm still undecided because I want to hear what I sound like,
bro.
Definitely what I look like.
You got a radio voice, man. You do. You have a radio voice, and I'm telling you. Granted, there's some high sophisticated equipment in here, and I have everything balanced out.
Thank goodness for that.
Right?
If not, I'd be screwed.
But I'll tell you what, man. You have a radio voice. Like you have a radio for this. And and you know what? Listen, podcasting's for everybody. So man, there's an audience out there, brother. Listen, and so you never know.
I told you before the show, dude.
Yeah,
I've done it. I've done it, and then I listen to it or I watch it, and I'm like, delete.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe this will be a little different. Maybe just being a different element, and maybe
we'll like you said, there's high sophisticated stuff in here. Maybe it made a difference.
Maybe it makes a difference. I don't know. I don't know. But you know what? I know that you made a difference today, brother, and making the show stronger and making it as great as it is. And again, I am humbled by everyone. I'm humbled that we're here. 23 episodes in, brother. I mean, again, dude,
I'm congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Listen, not for nothing.
Yep.
Famous last words, not for nothing. Listen, you do an awesome job.
Thank you, man.
I look forward to this podcast every week.
I'm blushing.
I definitely look forward to hearing my name.
Yep. Always,
and,
bro.
And
always.
the promise of coming here. I always keep looking forward to that.
Yo, imagine the build up, bro. If this was a trailer, like a movie trailer, like
this was a porn.
Imagine the build up, right? Money shot right here tonight. Right? This is the money shot.
Listen, dude. I in all honesty, I love this podcast. I look forward to it every week, and because you never know what the hell's going to. One day you're talking about Xfinity, and the next day, right? What do we, anything,
and that's the beauty. Like I keep talking about being organic. You know what I mean? And that's what I want the show to be. Just And again, and that's what I struggle like the 7-day cycle because I try to get a little bit of current events in there, and I think it's important. But bro, I think again, history is so important, brother. And I know you'll agree.
I love history.
If you forget, then you're doomed to repeat it. You know what I mean, right?
We are repeating it. We're already repeating it.
Yeah, we're already repeating it.
It's already happening.
It's not. You know what? If you had to put a finger on it, like the whole Confederacy, the flag, that's kind of like where it really, right? Would you, if you had to put like that whole North Carolina thing, and That was pretty much
the minute we started ripping down history,
right,
statues, and
right. That's
that's when it had already been coming down. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it had already been happening, but that's when it just nosedived.
that's when you saw it. Like it was one
they
thing to
weren't-
hear it.
They weren't trying to hide it anymore.
Right.
At that point.
Right.
And
They had
that's-
enough influence on the other side to do it. But you know, again, I am my parents immigrants, both immigrants here. I was born here.
Yep.
So I'm an American citizen. Am I sensitive to slavery and all of it? You know what? I can't speak to that, but what I can speak to is what I've learned in history is that, again, if you forget it, you're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And when you stop teaching our youth the way that we got here, then like, right? Like, how do you stop telling? How do you stop telling the story of all those sacrifices that many people made? And again, the founding fathers, the idea, and when you read the Constitution, and I don't know if you've had a chance to read it out there, when you read it, the brilliance in the wording and the way that I've always been daunted at how did they think of that? Like that when I read it,
They knew it.
I'm like,
Because they had already lived it.
I'm like, how did they think of that?
Because they had already lived it. But see, we don't know. We don't know what it's like to live
tyranny. Yeah, right.
Listen,
yeah.
they had lived it. They had lived it for hundreds of years already.
And you read it, bro, and you
know what I
see
mean?
like all of those, and you're like, wow, how did they think of that? Wow, they thought of that.
That's the reason why they left England,
right,
to begin with.
Right, to begin with. And so they
had
put
already
all that
lived it.
together. And meanwhile, here we are. We're like just butchering it and slicing it up and taking pieces out of it and rewording it.
It's
you
ridiculous.
know, I will hate to say this out loud, but I will. Like the Quran. The Quran, if read and interpreted the way that it's supposed to be, it's a book about peace. It's a book
absolutely.
about love. It's
It
a
really
book
is
about-
the religion of peace.
It's a religion of peace. But when you read it and you interpret it the way that you want and you spin it, it becomes a book of war, a book of death, and a book of just hate. So again, you know, I caution everybody and say, you know, if you haven't had a chance to read the Constitution, it may not be the most interesting thing in the world, but like at least if you're gonna have a conversation about it, at least read it and at least try to understand how it was put together and why it was put together.
Well, it should have been taught to you in school, and we're not doing that.
No, man, no way.
I mean, listen, we're not even teaching
way.
our kids how to balance a checkbook.
Nope.
Cursive?
Nope.
What's
Seriously.
that?
Yeah.
What's
What is
cursive?
that? What is that?
How, I just want to know how you're going to sign your name if you can't write.
Well,
cursive.
they do it digitally now through
everything's
Adobe.
digital.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
do
everything's
going to
be your
Adobe
fingerprint
digital
soon,
signature.
right? Or your irises or
Yeah,
something.
you know what? I keep saying that. I mentioned it in the previous podcast. IPv6. I think that's going to be it, man. When it's going to be you're going to get an IP address, and that IP address is going to follow you wherever you go. Your phone, your computer.
Well,
they're
we
going to know.
technically already do that, right?
They do that
Every
now,
card
right?
has a chip.
It
now,
does,
and-
right? Yeah, but I think with that IPv6, I think that number being to you now, it's your not only your social number, but it's also your digital number. And now and even in the digital world, you're not going to hide anymore. You know what I mean? No. But again, guys, again, Steve, we got to stop.
Dude, you're the one starting this.
You know what
bring
it's like?
things up.
It's like we're at the bar, like we're doing shot after shot after shot, and now we're too drunk.
No.
Yeah,
We're good.
now
We're
we're too drunk, like we're not stopping. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
listen, we do have to. Listen, officially, we are 3 hours and 6 minutes.
I
in.
told
so,
you were going
So
to
we
go.
broke the record for the podcast.
Literally, for this to stop, I have to walk out.
You do have to walk out. So, listen, everybody, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Steve, thank you very much for your kind
Thanks for
words,
having
brother.
me,
I
brother.
appreciate you being here. Everybody, again, hit us up on the social media end of it. If you haven't had a chance to go over to Etsy, www.etsy.com/shop/the Bobby Couto Show. Go get yourself some gear, man. Go show the support for the show.
And actually wear it.
Wear it. Yeah, right. That's funny. I got my shirt on, bro. But listen, just knowing that you have it, brother, is a great thing. And even that kind of slowed down a little bit. And I tell everybody, you know, it does help with, like, 'cause this isn't free. Like, I got to pay for podcast hosting.
Absolutely.
I got to pay for the website. So that stuff, it helps a little bit. But I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at other ways and other means of getting t-shirts. I know it's a little expensive. Like, the prices are a little high, but it's quality stuff, though.
I didn't think it was bad because
No.
it's a quality t-shirt.
It's you know what, the pricing, I really can't control it because it's like a print on demand. It's like two companies. It's a print on demand server, and then it's my merchandiser. Etsy's the merchandiser. So the pricing's kind of like worked in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm making like $2 or $3 on a shirt, which is great if I sold 10 shirts. You know what I mean? Because maybe I could help pay for the. but I'm not really making that kind of movement. But after this podcast, brother, this shit's going to be falling off the shelves. They're going to be falling.
I hope so,
I'm
bro.
telling you, because
I hope
everybody's
so.
going to want one. So everybody, listen, if you have a chance, go out there, check it out. Steve, thanks once again. Go hit Steve up if you guys are looking for that information as far as gun safety, getting your safety certification. If you're thinking of getting that, which is get it now, right? Because don't wait until somebody passes some stupid law where you can't even get it anymore, right? I mean,
get it now.
And then we're talking about being grandfathered in some sort. You know what I mean? So get out there, do that, hit Steve up. And again, guys, we always appreciate the support with the podcast. Again, 3 hours in, man. Holy mackerel. Thank you so much for lending me your ear, guys. Everybody who joined in on the live cast on Facebook, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, your support is always much appreciated, and it really helps with everything we're doing here. I mean, my goodness, the idea that there's so many different outlets and platforms awesome. And we can reach so many people, man. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So, guys, I just want to thank everybody once again for taking the time. I mean, God, 3 hours, man. That's a commitment, right? Like
That is a commitment.
I mean, I don't even know that I listen to a family member for 3 hours. I'd be like, listen, I love you, but you got to shut the fuck up. But nonetheless, I thank everybody. I thank you, brother. And I just want to say it once and always, brother. You remember, all roads lead here.